My childhood friend is a fierce little Tsundere, but behind my back she's a violent girl who secretly crushes on me. Even though she used to steal my milk, wear my clothes, and even chase me with a baseball bat when we were kids, she has persisted in loving me for a very long time. She would walk halfway across the globe to celebrate my birthday, and she'd travel for 2.5 years just to buy me my favorite bread. It wasn't until later that I finally understood this affection. Just as I was preparing to confess to her, she was ruthlessly dragged under the wheels of a car on her way to see me. In the end, our mutual pursuit of one another turned us into friends with benefits. I continued to live a muddled life in a muddled world until I opened my eyes and unexpectedly found myself back in a private booth at a high school class reunion. Everyone was jeering and trying to set me up with wrong meow meow. At that moment, a soft little hand hooked onto my arm and a delicate, shy voice said, "Hey, stop teasing. You're making Jinan Chuan embarrassed." I instantly remembered many fragments of the past. This scene was too familiar. It turned out to be the friends, gathering after the Gao Cow. I didn't expect to be reborn. I quickly stood up and pulled away from wrong meow meow. My action stunned everyone. I saw clearly that wrong meow meow was wearing a short skirt, revealing her slender white legs with a neat short haircut and delicate features. Right now, her eyes were filled with confusion and nervousness as she looked at me. She was my best bro in my past life, but also the person who nearly got me killed. In my last life, I didn't know the term pick-me-girl, Hanzi Biao. I truly treated her like a brother. Under her instigation, I always thought Ruan Mengyao hated me, and we missed out on each other for many years. Finally, when I was almost killed by wrong meow meow, it was Ruan Mengyao who saved me regardless of the danger, only to die in a car accident on her way to meet me. Thinking of this, my eyes dimmed for a moment and then lit up again. Since I have been reborn, I must change that accident. At this time, the girl next to wrong meow meow smiled and said, "I'm so envious of you, meow meow. To be with you, Jinan Chuan applied to the same university. It was the same in my past life. Everyone cheered for us to be together. Wrong meow meow secretly messaged me saying, 'Give me some face, bro. It would be embarrassing if you rejected me directly like this. Besides, don't you want to know if Ruan Mengyao likes you? Just don't say anything. If she really likes you, she'll definitely come find you when she hears the news that we're together. I'll explain it to them at 10 o'clock. Out of trust for my brother, I didn't speak back then. As a result, the next day the whole world heard we were together, and Ruan Mengyao moved out of my house that day. Later, wrong meow meow used my name to borrow money everywhere. She ran away and the creditors came to my door, nearly beating me to death. Thinking of this, how could I repeat the same mistake? I grabbed the microphone and said loudly, "Stop the nonsense. I don't like wrong meow meow. I didn't apply to that school for her. I already have someone I like." The room went silent. Wrong meow meow smiled awkwardly and said, "That's what I said! I told you we were just brothers. You guys are just making a fuss!" This is so embarrassing for me. Her roommate Liu Ning looked incredulous. "No way, Jinan Chuan. If you don't like meow meow, why do you give her breakfast every day? You even bought her water during PE. Don't you guys chat every day?" I explained, "The daily breakfast you mentioned was delivered by takeout. That was a penalty for losing a ball game. I sent it to everyone who played. Wrong meow meow was there that day, and I didn't think much of it and just bought it for everyone. It was only for 1 week. As for specifically buying her water, that's even less true. We're classmates. She said she had no money on her meal card, so why would I fuss over a bottle of water? Didn't you guys who played ball with me drink my water too?" I looked at the guys I played ball with. They whispered among themselves, and wrong meow meow's face looked terrible. "Jinan Chuan, it's all a mistake. Why are you being so serious?" Ignoring her embarrassment, I continued to clarify the last point. "We don't chat every day. It's just that when she sends a message, I occasionally reply." Liu Ning was completely dazed. But that's not what meow meow said." Wrong meow meow stood up with tears in her eyes. "Enough! Jinan Chuan, don't say anymore. I treat you as a brother. Everyone was just joking, and you're taking it so far. You just want to humiliate me, don't you?" No one dared to speak in the booth. Everyone knew wrong meow meow usually liked playing with boys. Looking at her aggrieved appearance, I gave a mocking laugh. Brothers, one last word. Boys should learn to protect themselves when they're out, or you might get stuck to something dirty, trashy, without knowing it. The phrase, dirty thing, made Ruan Miao Miao's tears fall. She cried out, Ji Nanchuan, you're too much, and ran out. Liu Ning sighed, stomped her foot, and followed her. The remaining boys looked at each other, and one brave one asked me, Brother Chuan, are you just going to let her run out like that? My brain was still a bit foggy. Though I had just rebutted Liu Ning, I was still accepting the fact of my rebirth. Hearing this, I sat on the sofa and said, otherwise you go chase her. Yifeng laughed, felt it was inappropriate, cleared his throat, and looked at me. Are you okay? You seem off. You know, you usually seem cold, but those close to you know you're gentle. Normally, you wouldn't say things like this. Even if you didn't like it, you'd probably just say, stop it, and let it pass. Being this direct and heartless is really not your style. That's why Yifeng asked. I looked at Yifeng's familiar face, younger than in my past life. After Ruan Mengyao died, Yifeng always stayed by my side. He was a true brother. Back then, he was the one who helped me deal with the Ruan Miao Miao situation. Facing his inquiry, I took a breath and said, I'm fine. Let's end it here tonight. I don't feel well. I'm going back. Let's meet next time. Saying that, I stood up and walked out. Now, I couldn't wait to go back and confirm if the person in my memory was still there. Ruan Mengyao should be at my house. Ruan Mengyao's parents immigrated with the whole family in the 11th grade, but she insisted on taking the Gaokao in China. Her grandmother was still alive then, and since her family couldn't persuade her, they let her stay with her grandmother. Later, in the second half of 11th grade, her grandmother passed away, but she still refused to go abroad. My mother and her mother are best friends, so she brought her over. Ruan Mengyao stayed at my house during the 12th grade until the rumors about me and Ruan Miao Miao spread. Only then did she go abroad without a word and didn't attend university in China. My eyes flickered. In my last life, I was probably one of the reasons she stayed. In this life, I won't be like the last, liking her but not daring to say it until the accident happened. The flowers weren't sent, and the I love you wasn't spoken. Yifeng was worried and followed me out. Just as I walked out of the first floor lobby, a voice called, Ji Nanchuan. Following the sound, I saw a girl standing at the entrance. Even in a tracksuit, her figure was tall and well-proportioned. She had a high ponytail and an oval face, looking down at her phone with lowered lashes, holding a baseball bat in her hand. Many young men passing by couldn't help but look at her. After all, everyone likes to look at a beautiful girl. Yifeng shuddered at the sight. He was my middle school classmate and one of the few who knew Ruan Mengyao and I were childhood friends, and the only one who had seen her chase me with a baseball bat. So no matter how popular she was at school, in Yifeng's heart, he would always remember the inside story of her hitting my legs with that bat. Even beautiful girls can be brutal. He swallowed hard, looking more nervous than me. Your sister is here. If she starts swinging later, should I call the police? I gripped my trembling hand tightly. Yifeng's voice snapped me back to reality, but my gaze remained longingly on the person not far away. She's not my sister. Didn't you say she's older than you? Yifeng asked, puzzled. I just waved my hand and said, I'm off, then strode toward Ruan Mengyao. Something was wrong, very wrong. My heart was racing. I didn't care what Yifeng thought. I walked up to Ruan Mengyao and asked softly, Why are you here? My voice was a bit raspy. The girl who was looking down at her phone looked up at me, something flashing in her beautiful peach blossom eyes. Ruan Mengyao quickly turned off her phone and said indifferently, Came to get the keys from you. I forgot to bring mine. Hearing her familiar voice, my eyes grew hot. Fearing she'd notice, I quickly looked away and said, Oh, have you been waiting long? Ruan Mengyao looked at me in surprise. Usually, I acted as if I didn't care about her. Normally, I'd probably just give her the keys and leave without a word. Why was I saying so much today? But she couldn't deny she felt a bit of joy inside, though her face remained expressionless. It wasn't long ago that she had been hesitating at the door for half an hour, not daring to call. Speaking of which, Ruan Mengyao thought of Ruan Miao Miao, who had just come out crying. Now that I was out, was I going to chase Ruan Miao Miao? Thinking of this, her eyes dimmed. Give me the keys. I'm going back. I gave her a strange look. If I give them to you, what am I supposed to do later? Let's go back together. I took out my phone. Should I call a car, or where are you going? You're coming back with me? Ruan Mengyao's voice was uncertain. Aren't you going to chase Rong Miao Miao? I saw her crying. She paused and turned her face away. Now that the Gaokao is over, I won't tell your mom. I won't snitch that you're in a relationship. I couldn't help but laugh. How stupid was I before not to realize she liked me? A young girl's thoughts and the emotions in those beautiful eyes can't be hidden. I had to admit I was a fool to believe Rong Miao Miao's analysis and her claim that Ruan Menkiao hated me. I took a breath. What does she have to do with me? I'm not her parents. Do I have to coax her just because she's crying? Seeing the car arrive, I waved. Let's go home. I reached out to take her hand but hesitated and pulled back, pretending not to care. Let's go. Ruan Mengyao reacted for a moment. Didn't I always treat Rong Miao Miao differently? Didn't I like her? Why now? Ruan Mengyao glanced at me, hesitated for a second, and then got into the car. As she sat down, her finger accidentally touched the screen. I noticed the screen said, Ji Nanchuan is a big idiot. That's my Ruan Mengyao. Ruan Mengyao also noticed her screen was lit, her face flushed hot, and she quickly turned it off. She didn't dare look at me, staring straight ahead as if nothing happened. I smiled helplessly. Scoot in a bit, or how am I supposed to get in? Don't you usually sit in the front passenger seat? Ruan Mengyao blurted out. She immediately felt the words were too sharp. She looked up at me wanting to explain, but thinking I wouldn't listen, she just added stiffly, whatever you want, and moved over. The driver glanced at us in the rearview mirror, switched to some soothing music, and started driving. There was no sound in the car except the music. It was very quiet. The moment I saw Ruan Mengyao, I was sure I had been reborn to the moment the Gaokao just ended, when everything could still be fixed. I was excited and joyful. Nothing made me happier than Ruan Mengyao being alive. Did you go play baseball today? I looked at the bat she placed beside her and took the initiative to speak. My initiative seemed to startle her. Her body stiffened for a moment before she gave a soft, and then went silent. I sighed internally and decided not to beat around the bush. At the party just now, they were cheering for me to be with Rong Miao Miao. The person who was staring straight ahead finally couldn't help but look at me. The lights in the car were off, and the street lights outside were dim. I couldn't see her expression clearly, but I could guess she was nervous and sad. After all, Ruan Mengyao liked me very much at this time. I didn't pause on purpose and said directly, but I don't like her. After clarifying some mysterious rumors, she ran off crying. Hearing that I didn't like Rong Miao Miao, fireworks went off in Ruan Mengyao's heart, and the corners of her mouth couldn't stop turning up. Ji Nanchuan doesn't like Rong Miao Miao. This was probably the best news she had heard all month. Seeing she didn't reply, I said, if I don't like her, I don't like her. She's not even that pretty. Ruan Mengyao's voice still sounded stiff. Actually, it's mainly because we haven't talked peacefully for a long time. After saying that, she added in a tiny, unhappy voice, I'm way prettier than her. You grew up watching me. If you're looking for a girlfriend, shouldn't you find someone prettier than me? Ruan Mengyao felt sour inside, but kept a cold face. I laughed. Yes, you are way prettier. You are the prettiest girl I've ever seen. After those words, the atmosphere between us became subtle. Luckily, the distance from the KTV to our neighborhood wasn't far. Even after getting out of the car, Ruan Mengyao's heart was still racing. Did Ji Nanchuan just praise her beauty? I was silent, considering whether to wait for her to adjust or to confess directly. Direct confession seemed weird. After all, half a year ago we had a huge fight because of my dad and hadn't talked properly since. A sudden confession might be inappropriate. Before I could reach a conclusion, as we walked toward the neighborhood gate one after the other, we saw Rong Miao Miao standing there with red eyes. Rong Miao Miao didn't know Ruan Mengyao and I lived together. She had run out crying earlier and hadn't noticed Ruan Mengyao at the KTV entrance. Seeing us arrive together, she was stunned, thinking, I didn't push Ji Nanchuan into confessing to Ruan Mengyao today, did I? That wouldn't do. She ran over quickly. Ji Nanchuan, why are you just getting back? She deliberately moved closer to me and looked at Ruan Mengyao. Ruan Mengyao, do you live here too? Ruan Mengyao used to hate seeing me with Rong Miao Miao because Rong Miao Miao always spoke with hidden meanings, which she disliked. But since I had already said I didn't like her, and I never lied to her, Ruan Mengyao's face didn't change. She gave her a cold. Rong Miao Miao's face turned pale. Ji Nanchuan, what's wrong with you tonight? Liu Ning was the one who started that teasing. I didn't know. I felt awkward too. Our relationship. I interrupted her. Wait a minute. There is no relationship between us. I leaned closer to Ruan Mengyao. Don't say things that cause misunderstandings. My reputation cannot be tarnished. Thank you. Seeing me lean toward Ruan Mengyao, Rong Miao Miao's face was unsightly. Hearing those words made it feel even more unbelievable. I was too strange tonight. Usually I wouldn't make friends around me feel embarrassed, which is why she had been able to stay by my side as a brother, secretly driving away many girls who liked me. But today I gave her no face at all. Rong Miao Miao squeezed her hands tightly, her face white. Ruan Mengyao, can I speak to Ji Nanchuan alone? Ruan Mengyao looked at her strangely. If you want to talk to him, just ask him. Why are you telling me to leave? I can't. I placed my hand on Ruan Mengyao's baseball bat. I'm not safe alone. At this, not only Rong Miao Miao, but even Ruan Mengyao couldn't help but look at me. I'm 183 centimeters tall. I exercise regularly. I have a perfect build with six-pack abs. And I'm not safe? Ruan Mengyao's gaze circled my face appraising LY. But I looked perfectly righteous. You said you're 5 minutes older than me. You're the big sister. You'll protect me. Ruan Mengyao was dazed for a moment. This was something she said when she was little, but it seemed I hadn't needed her protection for a long time. Ruan Mengyao snapped back, took a deep breath, and looked at Rong Miao Miao. Just say it now, or don't say it at all, she added. I won't let him be alone with you. Rong Miao Miao's face went dark, her eyes flashing with resentment. She could see our relationship was thawing. She didn't dare say much. She had worked hard to get close to me and wouldn't give up easily. Her gaze finally landed on me. So, are you going to the camping trip in 3 days? You haven't replied in the group. How Ozzy and the others are going. Didn't you say you wanted to go before? I checked. The sunset there is gorgeous. I only noticed that as Rong Miao Miao spoke, Ruan Mengyao's eyes grew even more dim. She probably felt there was no intersection between her life and mine. I'm not going. I'm going hiking with Ruan Mengyao, I interrupted. As soon as I said it, both girls looked at me in shock. Actually, I just said it. I didn't really plan on making Ruan Mengyao go hiking. In my last life, after Ruan Mengyao heard the news of me being with Rong Miao Miao at the party, she moved back to her own house the next day. During a hike 3 days later, she fell because she was distracted and injured her leg so badly it almost paralyzed her. I wasn't an immediate family member and couldn't sign the papers. The next day, her father came back and took her abroad for better treatment. I never got the chance to speak to her alone again until she left, and she didn't want to talk to me. Thinking of this, how could I let her get hurt again? I frowned and said impatiently to Rong Miao Miao, "You should go back. I'm not going." Rong Miao Miao's tricks seemed very clumsy to me now, but back then they really caused 18-year-old me to lose many things overnight. So naturally I wouldn't give her a good attitude. Rong Miao Miao was clearly upset, staring at me with disbelief. She hadn't recovered from my change in attitude. She couldn't accept it. I had replied to her message last night, and when she asked me to take her to the KTV tonight, I had replied then too. Although I didn't pick her up, my attitude was fine. Why did it suddenly change? It seemed to start from when she hinted at Liu Ning to start the teasing and messaged me. Rong Miao Miao was a bit annoyed. She had been too hasty. She knew I still liked Ruan Mengyao but tried to force me. She sniffed and pretended not to care, smiling. Fine, let's chat online at 10. I'm going back. Bye! She spoke quickly and turned to leave, as if afraid I would reject her again in front of Ruan Mengyao. The way she said it made it seem like we were in constant contact every night. I watched her walk away and immediately took out my phone and opened WeChat. Just like in my last life, she had sent me messages I hadn't read. There were 3 red dots. Though I didn't open them, the last one said, "Ji Nanchuan, you really give me no face. Is this how a brother acts?" I feel like I'm allergic to the word brother now. With no expression, I clicked on her profile and hit block. The movement was smooth, and I did it right in front of Ruan Mengyao. Ruan Mengyao's beautiful eyes watched my every move. She stayed silent, pursed her lips, and suddenly asked, "Is that how smoothly you blocked me too?" Huh? I looked up, confused. I hadn't blocked her, but seeing the grievance in her eyes, I went silent. I truly hadn't blocked her, but people close to me knew my phone password, a simple 000888, and I usually left it lying around. I opened the blacklist. Sure enough, Ruan Mengyao's WeChat was sitting in there. I exhaled. No wonder I hadn't received any messages from her for half a month. Though we didn't talk much, having 0 messages for half a month was rare. When I was out with others before, I casually asked, "Is it normal if someone doesn't contact you for half a month?" Then Rong Miao Miao naturally said, "It's normal? Isn't the Gaokao happening?" The other guys nodded too. I actually believed her nonsense. I unblocked Ruan Mengyao and explained directly. Rong Miao Miao probably did it. Everyone knows my password. I emphasized. She asked for my phone before to send some materials, and I didn't think much of it. I looked at Ruan Mengyao seriously. "I'm sorry. The Gaokao's over, and my mom said she'd give me a gift. I'll change my phone and the password too. I'll change it to 120,240. That's our birthdays. We share the same birthday. Ruan Mengyao was born 5 minutes before me, so we grew up together and had a great relationship. Even though she stole my milk in kindergarten, proudly saying, 'I'm the big sister, I drink first,' and always beat me in elementary school exams saying, 'It's only right since I'm the big sister.' And even though she misunderstood me sending a love letter in middle school and barged into my room with a baseball bat saying, 'I'll break your legs if you date early,' she was always fierce, but always protected me. She was the one who would travel across half the city to celebrate my birthday after my parents divorced when no one else remembered. She was the one who would say she was just walking the dog, but actually traveled across the city to bring me bear cookies. Her hands were covered in scratches, and she'd say impatiently, 'The cookies you like are so hard to buy, don't be a picky eater.' It wasn't until high school, when I realized I liked her, that everything changed. Thinking of this, I took a deep breath. 18-year-old me really didn't understand anything. A young boy's heart doesn't know how to adjust itself, which is why I was stupid enough to trust a so-called friend and hurt the person I loved over and over again, even though we clearly loved each other. Oh, whatever. Ruan Mengyao blinked and turned to walk away, her voice carrying a hint of grievance. "It's not the first time you blocked me anyway. You unblocked me now. But if Rong Miao Miao did it, why didn't you notice until now? You really trust her." Although she didn't want to admit it, she felt sour. We walked into the neighborhood and upstairs in silence. The house was empty, although 3 people lived there. My mom was too busy, either on a business trip or on the way to one. I'd only see her 2 or 3 days a month. Ruan Mengyao went inside and walked toward her room, which was next to mine. Seeing her about to open the door, I said, "Then, will you go buy a phone with me tomorrow?" Ruan Mengyao's hand on the doorknob tightened. I was asking her out? But didn't I hate walking with her? Since high school, she used to know all my friends and they'd call her Sister Yao. But since she transferred to the first high school in 11th grade, I'd coldly say, "She's not my sister, just a neighbor's kid." Only then did she realize I had many friends she didn't know, including Rong Miao Miao. Her long lashes trembled. "We'll see." She walked into the room. My voice sounded happy, but I actually didn't know how to interact with her. After all, it had been 2 years since she passed away in my previous timeline, and there were many misunderstandings between us. When we met again in our 3rd year of college, I had been badly screwed over by Rong Miao Miao. I later learned she had online loans she couldn't pay back, so she borrowed money from everyone around her and eventually dropped out and ran away. No one knew where she went, but she often borrowed money in my name. I had always denied being in a relationship with her, but every time I did, Everyone treated it as a joke or a couple's quarrel. Aside from her, I didn't have anyone else close to me. I was in a bad spot when Ruan Mengyao appeared and saved me. She stood at the entrance of an alley holding a phone saying she'd call the police, and the thugs left cursing. She walked up to me, eyes red, and scolded me. "You idiot. She was never good to you." Afterward, though she seemed reluctant, she took care of me every day, and our relationship slowly returned to its old familiar state. Until our 23rd birthday, when she said she had a gift for me and never came back. Our birthday became the anniversary of her death. I never got to say I love you, and the flowers I prepared were never sent. For the following 2 years, I was merely existing. I went into my room and closed the door, finally covering my face and crying. Tears soaked my palms, but I felt incredibly relaxed. Perhaps I wasn't a bad person in my past life, and heaven took pity on me by giving me a second chance. This time, I won't overthink it. If I like her, I'll be close to her and be good to her. Loving and giving to each other isn't being a simp. We clearly always loved each other. I tried to pull myself together, went to the bathroom to wash my face, and took out my phone to message her. "I'll come call you tomorrow morning." Scrolling up, I saw the 1,000 yuan she transferred to me half a month ago with the note, "Living expenses from your aunt." But I clearly remembered having a fight with my mom then, and she vowed not to give me a penny. My mom always kept her word. This was likely Ruan Mengyao's own money. Most of the messages above were started by her, and I mostly replied with, or, "Got it." Looking at it now, I just want to say, no wonder she thought I hated her. I really deserved to be cursed. On the other side of the wall, Ruan Mengyao had just come out of the shower, wearing a camisole nightdress. Her skin was fine and even. She liked sports, so her lines were perfect, and her exposed legs were long and straight. She'd definitely be a head-turner outside. As she dried her hair, she picked up her phone. Seeing my message, she froze. I rarely reached out to her. I usually acted like I didn't want any involvement with her. She used to think I was afraid Rong Miao Miao would mind. But encountering me at the KTV today felt strange. Still, she was delighted by my initiative. Most importantly, I said I didn't like Rong Miao Miao. Her eyes lit up as she opened the chat. "I'll come call you tomorrow morning. By the way, my mom said she wouldn't give me a penny for living expenses last month. I think I discovered your little secret." Below was a screenshot of a chat with Zhao Yi, my mom. "Brat, don't think you're getting a penny of living expenses from me this month." The message was from May 23rd. Ruan Mengyao scrolled up and saw that was the day she had transferred 1,000 yuan to me. The cold-looking girl's face turned completely red instantly. Her secret was laid bare, and it was me who found it. She slammed the phone onto the bed and covered her burning face. "Ah, so embarrassing!" She couldn't help but stomp her feet and scream softly. Then, a soft knocking came from the adjacent wall and the phone on the bed vibrated. "What are you doing?" Ruan Mengyao glared at the phone, her face feeling like it was on fire, even her exposed skin turning red. I stared at my phone for a while and smiled silently. I knew she was probably stomping her feet again. She'd been like that since she was a kid. Whether she was nervous, happy, or shy, she liked to stomp. Thinking of her covering her face and stomping her feet, I still found it adorable. The girl who seems so cold and indifferent actually gets red skin and watery eyes when she is shy, making her look incredibly beautiful and making one want to tease her even more. Sure enough, the phone soon vibrates with a notification. Nothing. Good night. I look at that good night and imagine her expression, feeling a bit of regret that I can't see it with my own eyes. I wonder if I went over right now and confessed directly, would the success rate be high? Just as I am seriously calculating this in my heart and replying with a good night, someone suddenly mentions me in a group. It's the friends I played with tonight. There are only 9 people in this small group, and once I click in, it's full of messages from Rong Miao Miao. "Ji Nanchuan, what do you mean? You blocked me? Are you serious? You can't even take a joke. And besides, I'm a victim too, okay? At Ji Nanchuan. If you're gonna be this petty, it's really boring, okay? At Ji Nanchuan." You can feel her breaking down right through the screen. My expression is cold. Now she's breaking down? Then what about Ruan Mengyao being in my blacklist? Someone in the group tries to smooth things over, saying it was just a joke and not to be too angry, while others say that actually Brother Wrong is quite good. and a good match with Brother Nan. The people saying this are probably just looking for drama, and Wrong Meow Meow mockingly tells them to get lost. The atmosphere in the group livens up a bit. That's when I post a sentence, "Who touched my phone about half a month ago and blocked Ruan Mengyao?" The group that was just getting lively goes silent for a moment. However, soon someone asks, "Wait, who would specifically block your friend?" "But, Brother Nan, can you give me Ruan Mengyao's contact info? You'll be my blood brother from now on, ha 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 ha." "Haozi, you're shameless. Ruan Mengyao looks like she doesn't belong to the mortal world. You have no chance." This is when He Feng suddenly posts, "I saw Wrong Meow Meow touching your phone before. Usually everyone has boundaries and won't touch things randomly." Wrong Meow Meow hasn't made a sound since I posted that sentence. Seeing He Feng's words, she finally comes out to post, "I don't know anything about that. Am I crazy? Why would I block Jinan Chuan's friend?" At this moment, Wrong Meow Meow, who just got home, looks terrible. So I blocked her because of Ruan Mengyao? At that thought, Wrong Meow Meow wants to cry. She met me in 10th grade. Back then, she had long hair and was just an ordinary, unremarkable girl. I was very dazzling on the court. Our class won that game, and she heard people around her whispering that my name was Jinan Chuan, that I had a good appearance and family background, and often treated the boys to meals. The girls nearby whispered, "Hey, go confess." Nah, I saw a girl confess to him before and he rejected her. His reason was that he doesn't understand girls' thoughts and it's too much trouble. He's probably a Ger4 and steel straight man. I think he just hasn't met a girl he likes. Wrong Meow Meow secretly kept those words in her heart. In 11th grade, we were in the same class. Knowing the class list, she went to cut her hair the next day, started watching ball games and star info, and learned to play games. When school started, I was still the way she remembered. Initially, Wrong Meow Meow approached the boys around me, one of them nicknamed Haozi. Sure enough, she slowly integrated into my circle of friends. She said her personality was carefree and she couldn't get along with the sensitive minds of girls. I did indeed look at her more because of that, but Wrong Meow Meow still couldn't get close to me. Until Ruan Mengyao transferred over, she saw the way I secretly looked at Ruan Mengyao several times. Even though we were art students, I would intentionally loop past the liberal arts classes just to catch an extra glimpse of Ruan Mengyao. So one day she walked up to me. "You like Ruan Mengyao, right? I can help you." Thinking of this, resentment flashes in Wrong Meow Meow's eyes. Why does he like her so much? Isn't Ruan Mengyao just a bit prettier? Didn't he say girls are a hassle? Aren't pretty girls even more of a hassle? Wrong Meow Meow looks at the group, she explained, but I didn't reply. After a while, they see the notification that I have left the group chat. The group goes silent again. Then someone asks, "What's wrong?" But no one replies. Wrong Meow Meow sees me leave all the small groups one by one, except for the class group. As long as she is in it, I leave. What am I doing? Completely severing ties with her. Just because of tonight's teasing. After I left the groups, many people sent private messages asking what happened. I didn't reply to them one by one. Among these people were those who, in my last life, after Wrong Meow Meow borrowed money from them, spoke maliciously to me when asking for repayment. Among them, Min Hao even got physical with me, but in a one-on-one, he couldn't beat me. At this moment, Min Hao sends a bunch of messages sticking up for Wrong Meow Meow. "We've been friends for so many years, it's really not necessary, Brother Chuan." Wrong Meow Meow's personality is just like that, carefree. And it's not certain she touched your phone. Is Brother Chuan really angry? If I couldn't see that Min Hao likes Wrong Meow Meow now, I'd be blind. No wonder I felt he was being passive-aggressive occasionally before. But I also admire him. The girl he likes another boy, and he even helps her chase him. What noble sentiment! I replied, "Wrong Meow Meow likes me, you can see that, yet you're helping her chase me. Don't you like her?" That side went silent instantly. I didn't care anymore and replied to He Feng's message separately. I didn't want to be in the same group as Wrong Meow Meow. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to stop myself from cursing. He Feng lets out a holy crap and calls me directly. "Holy crap, Brother Chuan, you're good, you finally found out." This Wrong Meow Meow, how should I put it? Pick me girl, Hanzi Biao. What brother? She's a girl, yet she's putting her arms around a bunch of guys every day. To be honest, tonight's teasing was also her telling Liu Yu to do it. Feng has a girlfriend. Under his girlfriend's brainwashing, every time he saw Rong Miao Miao being cozy with the boys, things changed. His girlfriend also said this type is called a pick-me girl, constantly talking about how girls are this and that, then hanging out with boys thinking she's different. Anyway, Feng didn't quite understand, but he would keep his distance. Before the gathering today, he heard the conversation between Liu Yu and Rong Miao Miao while going to the bathroom. Although Rong Miao Miao didn't actively suggest it, she guided Liu Yu to take the lead in teasing. He hadn't seen him bring Liu Yu to a gathering before, but today he suddenly brought him. The purpose was clear. I didn't say anything before because I thought you really liked her. Feng used to think I liked Rong Miao Miao, so he didn't say these things. If people like each other, it's called romance. Otherwise, it's called playing mind games. Seeing that I have finally seen Rong Miao Miao's true face, Feng speaks frankly. After saying that, he is still curious. But didn't you have a pretty good relationship with her before? I want to say, you call that a good relationship? To be honest, it was because she told me before she could help me test if Ruan Mengyao liked me. Feng gets stuck halfway. What did you say, Ruan Mengyao? Isn't she your sister? She's not my sister, but she will be my future wife. I said this with great confidence. After thinking all night, I still haven't figured out whether to be direct or take it slow. Sigh, there's no way. I guess living two lives doesn't help when it comes to love. Although nothing is certain yet, it doesn't stop me from being good to Ruan Mengyao first. I wake up very early the next day, thinking of making breakfast, only to find the fridge at home is cleaner than my wallet. Looking at my chat history with Ms. Zhang, my mom, yesterday, she said she's on a business trip this week, but she transferred my living expenses and a huge reward for getting into college. Speaking of which, I applied for Q University. I heard Ruan Mengyao mention before that Q University is quite good. After Rong Miao Miao found out, she applied for Q University with me. So we're still college alumni. How unlucky. However, Rong Miao Miao's grades are average, so she can only follow the placement. The school is big, so as long as it's not intentional, we probably won't meet. Even though Ruan Mengyao and I aren't in the same major, it doesn't matter. I believe we can meet. I come back with breakfast from outside, and as I push the door open, I see a figure wearing only a camisole nightdress drinking water in the kitchen. She raises her hand to drink, and the nightdress pulls up, making her legs look even longer. But the owner of those long legs doesn't notice the movement behind her because she has Bluetooth earbuds in her ears. I watch the sunlight spill over her delicate skin. Her body curves are even more perfect when she turns sideways. Most importantly, it looks like she isn't wearing anything underneath on her top half. An 18-year-old's physical reaction is fast and urgent. Just as I am in an awkward state, the person in the kitchen turns around and looks over. Ruan Mengyao wasn't really awake yet. She had received a call from her editor in a daze and finally sighed helplessly to get up and revise a draft. There's no helping it. Clients are kings. When the other party mentioned the parts to be changed, she thought of coming out to drink some water. It's only a bit past 9 a.m. now, and usually I sleep through the whole morning, so Ruan Mengyao really didn't think much of it. How long could it take to drink water? At this moment, turning her head, she sees me standing at the entryway holding bags. Ruan Mengyao doesn't react for a moment until she sees my face looking a bit red. Her face suddenly turns bright red too. She's wearing a camisole nightdress and no bra. The air seems to freeze. My eyesight is very good. I watch Ruan Mengyao's face turn red instantly, but I also see the front view. Although it feels a bit like being a hoodlum, her figure is really good. I hold the bag in front of me, feeling awkward, thinking I should speak first to break the silence. But before I can speak, the person in the kitchen with the beet red face gets flustered, puts down the cup, and turns to run back into her room. The cup makes a clinking sound as it hits the counter. I open my mouth but can't call out, and my nose feels wrong. I reach out to touch my nose. Holy crap, a nosebleed. This is so freaking awkward. As soon as Ruan Mengyao enters her room, she can't help but stomp her feet. She looks down at her clothes and stomps again. In the Bluetooth earbuds, her contact editor Chen Guang says a bunch of things but receives no reply, only the sound of stomping. He asks hesitantly, "Are you still there?" Ruan Mengyao says weakly, The body is still here. The soul has temporarily left home. I'll call you back later." Then there's an "oh," and the call is hung up. Ruan Mengyao was originally slumped on the bed, but suddenly remembering something, she sits up abruptly. The cup! The cup she was just using to drink water was mine. And at this moment, I have already seen that pinkish blue cup. Everyone in our house has a designated cup, all prepared by Ms. Zhao. When I came in, I was too busy looking at Ruan Mengyao to notice. Now that I've stopped the nosebleed, I was thinking of taking out the breakfast and calling her out to eat to break the awkwardness. Then I see the pinkish blue cup sitting on the counter. Pinkish blue is mine. Ruan Mengyao's is pink, and Ms. Zhao's is pinkish yellow. So Ruan Mengyao just used my cup to drink water. This feels a bit intimate. Ruan Mengyao changed her clothes, feeling so angry that she didn't walk into the kitchen but rushed out in a panic, only to see me leaning against the counter, drinking water with that cup. "Ruan Mengyao, how are you going to lie your way out of this?" She was just about to step back when she was stopped by me. "I bought breakfast. Let's eat together. Aren't you going to accompany me to buy a phone later?" Ruan Mengyao's retreating steps came to an emergency halt. She feigned composure on her face and gave an then walked toward the dining table, her eyes unable to stop themselves from quickly glancing at that pinkish blue cup. I saw her little movements but acted as if I hadn't noticed, pouring milk into the washed pink cup nearby. I carry out one cup in each hand, placing the pink cup gently in front of Ruan Mengyao. I bought rice rolls, buns, and savory crepes. "What do you want to eat?" "Buns? You woke up quite early today." Ruan Mengyao's voice still carried a hint of coldness. If her face hadn't started turning red, I really would have been fooled by her act. I placed the buns in front of Ruan Mengyao and smiled. "Yeah, I couldn't sleep thinking about how you promised to go out with me today." When dealing with this kind of little tsundere, the most effective thing is to be direct. Sure enough, hearing this, Ruan Mengyao quickly looks up at me, surprise unabashed in her eyes, but her mouth says, "I didn't promise." "But you didn't refuse either, did you?" I actually know Ruan Mengyao very well. She's soft-hearted despite her sharp tongue, a bit of a tsundere. Usually if she doesn't refuse, it means she's agreed. Sure enough, after I say that, Ruan Mengyao stops talking. But I deliberately act disappointed and ask, "Is it that you don't want to go with me? Or maybe you're busy? Then No, I'm not." Ruan Mengyao interrupted my words stiffly. She glanced at me and said again, "It's nothing. Even if I were busy, I wouldn't not go with you. Let's eat breakfast first." After saying that, she stops looking at me. I'm in a great mood and let out a laugh. The sound of my laughter brushes past Ruan Mengyao's ear, and she feels her ears are about to burn. We haven't communicated for a long time. Even though I took the initiative, the atmosphere at the table is still a bit silent. It isn't until I see Ruan Mengyao finish her last sip of milk that I speak. When I came back just now, cough. Ruan Mengyao suddenly starts coughing violently. She's coughing so hard I see her face turn red. I'm a bit worried and stand up to hand her some tissues. Just as I am about to reach out and pat her back, she waves her hand. "I'm fine." Then she stands up. I'm going back to change my clothes. Finally, without waiting for me to speak, she turns and runs, afraid that if she runs too slowly, I'll ask her if she just used my cup to drink water. How could she answer that? Ruan Mengyao doesn't want to go out with me anymore. She can't handle it. It's too embarrassing. Although she's done things like this before, she's been caught now. Will she be seen as a weird person? I was originally just testing it out. After all, it's possible she was groggy and took the wrong cup, and seeing her just now, she had indeed just woken up. But now it seems she knows, and it's very likely this isn't the first time she's done this. I originally thought I understood Ruan Mengyao quite well. We grew up together as childhood friends. Although we were separated for 3 years in the middle, we had been in close contact after she returned to the country. We were just short of poking through that layer of window paper. Reasonably speaking, I should understand Ruan Mengyao enough. Looking at the cup in my hand now, I suddenly feel I still don't understand her that well. Ruan Mengyao might have many sides behind my back. To be honest, I'm a bit looking forward to it now. I tidy the table and go back to my room to change, coming out and seeing that the door next to mine still shows no sign of opening. I raise an eyebrow and walk to the kitchen, find that pink cup from just now, take a photo, and send it to the WeChat contact I just pinned last night. I accidentally used the wrong cup when drinking water just now. Does this count as an indirect kiss? Not even a minute after sending it, that tightly closed door opens. Ruan Mengyao's eyes still carry a hint of watery light. Ji Nanchuan, you're being a hoodlum. I am indeed being a hoodlum, but if I didn't do this, she didn't seem to plan on coming out. I look at her with an innocent face. Lying to you. Ruan Mengyao is incredibly ashamed. Knowing the morning's events couldn't be avoided, she had already thought of a reason. I was groggy this morning. It wasn't on purpose. Her voice gets smaller and smaller as she feels guilty. She's never been very good at lying. I smile and pretend not to care. It's okay. When we were kids, you used to steal the milk I'd already drunk half of. 1 cup is nothing. Ruan Mengyao is stunned. Can that be the same? How old were they then? Now it's different. It's the same in my heart. The current her and the child her are the same in my heart. Like a sister? Thinking this, Ruan Mengyao's mood gets even worse. She feigns indifference, gives a faint, "Oh," and stops talking again. I let out a sigh. Shall we go out now? Okay. Her mood is clearly low. It takes me a moment to realize she's low because of what I just said. But why? Until we step out, Ruan Mengyao speaks. Ji Nanchuan, am I the same in your heart as before? The summer wind is hot. Even before noon, one can feel the muggy heat upon stepping out. My gaze moves from my phone to her face. This face has been beautiful since childhood. In kindergarten, people would give Ruan Mengyao milk and ask her to be their bride. But the beautiful little girl always refused, then turned around to steal my milk and say proudly, "I'm the big sister, give me your milk." Thinking of this, I smile and nod. Pretty much. Sure enough, Ruan Mengyao's eyes haven't been dim and disappointed for even 2 seconds before they hear me continue. No, hasn't it always been that you are special in my heart? You are in my heart as well. This is a test and also a hint. Sure enough, Ruan Mengyao is stunned hearing this. I don't dare say more. Let's go, the car is here. Ruan Mengyao follows behind me, digesting my words. So Ji Nanchuan's meaning is that she is also special in his heart? Since last night, my changes have been too obvious, making her unable to stop herself from thinking, is it the meaning she thinks it is? Ruan Mengyao has lacked patience since she was little, except for persisting for a long time and secretly liking me. This time, she doesn't hesitate much. After getting in the car, she asks directly, Ji Nanchuan, what did those words mean just now? It means you are special in my heart. I am a bit surprised she asked so directly, but I don't hesitate to answer. Then do you have someone you like now? Ruan Mengyao didn't want to beat around the bush and ask directly about a girl he likes. If I said no, she might have the courage. Although it's a bit hasty, Ruan Mengyao is afraid a second wrong meow meow will appear. She doesn't want to see it. She doesn't want another close girl around me. Previously, Wrong Meow Meow's appearance had caught Ruan Mengyao off guard. Although Wrong Meow Meow didn't say she was my girlfriend, her possessiveness over me made Ruan Mengyao's heart break every time she saw it. Coincidentally, during that time, my relationship with my dad was very poor. Uncle G had indeed looked for her a few times to give me some things, gifts and such. Back then, I didn't want to see Uncle G for 2 or 3 years. Ruan Mengyao actually refused to do things I didn't want to do. She didn't want to force me, but I still saw it. I misunderstood that the things she gave me were bought by my dad. We had a fight, and the relationship dropped to freezing point. It's not that she hadn't thought of explaining, but it seemed every time we couldn't talk properly, and so the relationship grew further and further apart. They were clearly so close before. Thinking of this, Ruan Mengyao's expression is poor, and she doesn't wait for my answer, saying directly, "Forget it. I just feel that since last night, you seem to have changed a bit. I don't know what the catalyst was, but I'm very happy." Her pursuit leaves me a bit caught off guard. Ruan Mengyao exhales. You'd better not say it. I want my good mood to last a bit longer. We haven't talked so peacefully in a long time. Those beautiful eyes look straight at me. I think at least for today, let's coexist in peace. Why only today? It will be like this every day from now on, and not just like this. I let out a sigh. Don't you want to hear my answer? I don't. I regret asking. Liking someone often leads to lack of confidence and an ostrich mentality. Ruan Mengyao is in that state right now. So don't answer me, okay? Not quite okay. I really want to answer. I have a girl I like. I spoke directly. I've liked her for about 3 years now. Ruan Mengyao's hanging heart completely dies. 3 years ago, back when she wasn't even in the same school as me in 10th grade, I already had someone I liked. She glares at me. Fine, I get it. Shut up. Shouldn't I ask who it is while I'm at it? Shut up. Her fierce voice carries a hint of grievance. Fine, I won't say it. Then have you heard? Written on the wall of Xylan Temple? No. Then shut up. At this time, wouldn't it be natural for me to just follow the flow and confess? But seeing that her eyes were red and she looked like she might cry at any moment, I still wimped out. I feel that even if I said the person I liked was her now, Ruan Mengyao wouldn't believe it. There are too many barriers between us, likely starting from when I threw all the gifts she gave me out of my room. An invisible wall seemed to appear between us. What I need to do now is tear down the wall, not stand on one side of the wall shouting, "I like you," to the person on the other side. It lacks sincerity and isn't the right way. The two of them arrived at the mall in an awkward atmosphere. After getting out of the car, Ruan Mengyao took the initiative to speak. You've liked her for 3 years and haven't caught her? It's not wrong meow meow, right? I really don't like wrong meow meow. I said if you want to know. I don't, but I know why you haven't caught her. Ruan Mengyao glares at me. With wrong meow meow around you, how could you ever catch a girl? Although she didn't catch him, she's happy. Ruan Mengyao had thought on the way about what to do in college. She's still in the same school as me and we still live together. With such good innate conditions, she should be able to be the first to get the moon near the water. And she's so pretty, she can't possibly fail. Right? Ruan Mengyao's self-consolation is comfortable, but I feel heartbroken, almost wanting to vomit blood. I also know now that the deterioration of my relationship with Ruan Mengyao had a lot to do with having wrong meow meow around. I originally thought she was an advisor, but she turned out to be a base stealer. I exhale and say gloomily, I know. But my relationship with her is really very ordinary. My relationship with Hifeng and the others is better. But she's a girl. Think about it. If the girl you liked had a guy around her who was with her every day, would you think they were pure and had nothing between them? Ruan Mengyao asks in return. I can't deny that this is indeed easy to cause misunderstandings, but I still can't help explaining, I don't like someone like her, and we're always in a group together. I rarely spend time alone with her. Entering the mall, the air conditioning settles the agitated mood. Ruan Mengyao looks at me. Then what kind of person do you like? Pretty good figure, looks cold and a bit Tsundere on the outside, but actually is clingy and sweet in private. I say without thinking, and then receive a roll of the eyes from Ruan Mengyao. Where is there such a good girl in broad daylight? There's one right in front of me. I laugh and remark, one cannot see the true face of Mount Lu because one is in the midst of the mountain. Ruan Mengyao feels this person is getting more and more strange, but the atmosphere between the two becomes much more natural. When I said buying a phone, I really meant buying a phone. I even set the password to 120,240 in front of Ruan Mengyao, and even when doing the face unlock, I performed a set of operations on Ruan Mengyao's face to record it directly. Ruan Mengyao let out a, "Wow, why are you recording my face in your phone?" The salesgirl nearby says with a smile, "Your boyfriend is so conscious." That one sentence makes Ruan Mengyao blush. She was just about to deny it when she hears me say, "This sister's mouth is so sweet," directly making the salesgirl laugh. Ruan Mengyao's secret thoughts ultimately didn't deny it. It was still early when they came out of the phone store. I asked, "What do you want to buy?" Ms. Zhao gave me a huge sum of money and specifically told me to buy you a gift. What do you want? Ruan Mengyao shakes her head. I don't have anything to buy. She thinks of something. I do need to buy some things for the hike the day after tomorrow. Saying that, she looks at me. Previously, I said I was going too, but now that she's mentioned it, I haven't reacted. Did I forget? How could I forget? I'm thinking about how to stop Ruan Mengyao from going on the hike. Although after denying the relationship with Rong Miao Miao this time, Ruan Mengyao might not get distracted and have an accident, the most effective way is still to not let her go, completely isolating the possibility of an accident. "Do you have to go the day after tomorrow?" I speak up. "I also wanted you to accompany me to a place." Ruan Mengyao's eyes light up slightly. "Where?" After asking, she feels she's too eager and adds, "I'll see." "Actually, it's not anywhere specific. Didn't we miss spending our birthday together last year?" I want to make up for it. Actually, this reason and excuse are truly clumsy. After all, making it up could be any day. As soon as I said it, I felt she probably wouldn't agree, feeling I was asking for too much. But unexpectedly, Ruan Mengyao says without thinking, "Then I'll tell them tonight and go with them next time." Ruan Mengyao likes sports, so she has a group of sports buddies. The relationships are all good. I know all this. Presumably for this hike, they had made an appointment beforehand. But because of a clumsy excuse of mine that wasn't even an excuse, Ruan Mengyao still chooses me without thinking. I smile happily. Luckily, with Ruan Mengyao, I have always been the one who is firmly chosen. Then shall we go back? Since there's no need to go on the hike, there doesn't seem to be anything to buy. Ruan Mengyao is a bit disappointed. Going back seems to mean each going back to their own room and being unable to communicate. "Are you hungry? Let's go watch a movie and then eat when we come out." I say, since we're already here, shopping, eating, watching a movie. Ruan Mengyao ticks off the little checklist in her heart, doing them all with me today. I watch her face looking like she's reluctantly agreeing, but her eyes carry the joy of a squirrel finding a pine nut. She's clearly very happy. Suddenly, I really want to pinch her face. Luckily, I hold back. The movie theater is on the 3rd floor. As the two are taking the elevator up, a movie probably just ended, and many people are coming out of the cinema. A child in front is about to run into Ruan Mengyao. I reach out and grab her wrist to pull her aside. "Careful." The warmth from my palm radiates through her wrist, making Ruan Mengyao feel like her whole body is heating up. As the crowd disperses, I don't let go of her wrist. Just as we reach the ticket counter, someone shouts, "Hey, Brother Chuan!" Ruan Mengyao and I turn simultaneously to see Rong Miao Miao and a few boys standing nearby. They must have just finished a movie. The boy who called out looks quite happy. "It really is, Brother Chuan. I said it looked like you." Rong Miao Miao's gaze is fixed deathly on my hand holding Ruan Mengyao's. They were together last night, and they're together again now. Are they already a couple? Did Nanchuan actually confess? Beside her, Min Hao glances at Rong Miao Miao and notices her distress. His own mood sinks. Since I called him out on his hidden feelings last night, he hasn't dared to reply to my messages. He can see Rong Miao Miao likes me, but he's been pretending not to know. Now he can't help but ask himself, is it worth liking a girl who likes another guy? He's been helping her approach me under the guise of being brothers, but today he saw her post in the group that she was bored and dragged the guys out to keep her company. No matter how much he does, she doesn't give him a second look. I nod to them. "You guys here for a movie too?" Quote. "Hey, yeah. Brother Chuan, about you and Ruan Mengyao," one of the boys says with a suggestive wink. Ruan Mengyao's hand moves slightly to pull away from mine. I glance at her, then smile at the boy. "Go on now. Being too curious will only get you in trouble." The boys laugh. Brother Chuan didn't deny it. You have to know, if it were really nothing, Brother Chuan would have denied it outright. Amidst the laughter, Rong Miao Miao suddenly speaks up, her voice laced with mockery. "So, Jinan Chuan, did you block me because you got a girlfriend? Ruan Mengyao, Jinan Chuan, and I have been bros for so many years, you wouldn't be that petty, would you?" Her voice carries a jealousy she doesn't even realize. It wasn't like this when the other guys had girlfriends. She's essentially calling Ruan Mengyao petty. Ruan Mengyao looks at her, a faint smile playing on her lips. "Who are you? And yes, I am exactly that petty. When it comes to my boyfriend, I'm not willing to see him have a female brother." Rong Miao Miao's expression shifts. She hasn't had much contact with Ruan Mengyao before and only heard things from others. When Ruan Mengyao transferred in 11th grade, the classes were split between arts and sciences. I was an art student, while Mengyao was a liberal arts student. Our classrooms weren't in the same building. But she became the focus of discussion the moment she arrived due to her excellent grades and athletic talent. She was perfect, and many people liked her. Even Min Hao and Rong Miao Miao, knowing she liked me, couldn't help but look at her a few more times. The school didn't have official titles for school beauty, but Ruan Mengyao was publicly recognized as gorgeous, and her cold, aloof look gave her an otherworldly vibe. Rong Miao Miao was caught off guard by such directness and was speechless for a moment. She habitually looks at me, only to find me staring at Ruan Mengyao with a smile, not giving her a single glance. Rong Miao Miao turns even paler, but forces a smile. Jinan Chuan, you're not going to be a yes man to whatever your girlfriend says, are you? Getting whipped like this, can you handle it? If this were a private joke among friends, it would be fine. But saying it publicly is provocative. The other boys look at each other awkwardly. Just now, Rong Miao Miao looked aggrieved and claimed she was innocent and I was the one who couldn't take a joke, but the way she's talking now doesn't look like she's disinterested at all. It sounds like jealousy. Min Hao pulls her back, trying to smooth things over. Just a joke! Brother Chuan, we won't disturb your movie, we're going to eat. I'll listen to her. Whatever she says goes. My gaze lands on Rong Miao Miao, filled with unabashed distaste. If I don't listen to my girlfriend, should I listen to you? That's overstepping, isn't it? Ignoring everyone's awkward faces and the fact that Rong Miao Miao looks like she's about to cry, I add another blow. Also, stop acting like we're so close. It causes misunderstandings. Honestly, I can't really accept having female brothers. I thought I was being tactful enough to save some face, but in truth, it wasn't for her sake. I was just afraid my sudden change would weird Ruan Mengyao out. Though things are already pretty weird. Whatever. Even so, Rong Miao Miao cries and runs away. Min Hao hurriedly chases after her. The remaining two boys are embarrassed and quickly say goodbye to us. They were just called out by Haozi for a movie and dinner. What kind of melodramatic scene is this? They don't know if Rong Miao Miao is embarrassed, but they certainly are. FTER, they leave. I turn to Ruan Mengyao, only to see her blushing. Why is she blushing? Weren't we just dealing with Rong Miao Miao? Ruan Mengyao is blushing because of that "listen to her" comment. Plus, I didn't deny she was my girlfriend. It's no exaggeration to say that with her rich imagination, Ruan Mengyao has already named our children. So the blushing is uncontrollable. Looking at her beet-red face, I speak hesitantly. Whatever she's imagining, Ruan Mengyao doesn't want to be found out. Seeing my hesitant and puzzled look, she immediately turns around. I'm going to buy the tickets. She doesn't want to be asked. It's too embarrassing. In her mind, she's essentially my girlfriend for the day. One day is enough. I realize Ruan Mengyao isn't giving me a chance to speak at all. She buys the tickets and drinks, then strides toward the ticket check. Once seated, she stuffs a cup of Coke into my hand and stares with shocked intensity at the big screen, playing advertisements, refusing to look at me. I find it funny and sigh. What movie are we watching? Seeing I didn't bring up what happened, Ruan Mengyao finally turns to me and hands over the ticket. I didn't know she bought the soonest showing. Just then, the lights dim and the movie begins. My hand touches hers as I go for the ticket. My hand is warmer than hers. I feel her hand flinch back before going still. The screen lights up and I see her looking shocked, her hand still frozen in that offering posture, as if the flinch never happened. With a smile in my eyes, I look at the screen while accurately taking her hand, removing the 2 tickets from her palm. My fingertips brush her palm, and I turn to look at her. Her eyes are wide, and her small hand is clenched. Quote, "Sorry, didn't notice. It's too dark, and I haven't adjusted yet." I apologize with a smile, still holding the tickets. The movie has started, and the sound is loud, so I see her lips move as if saying, "It's okay." But I don't hear a sound. Or maybe she didn't make a sound at all. Ruan Mengyao doesn't know if she spoke. Her heartbeat is so loud it's deafening, and she's afraid I'll hear it. The spot where I touched her palm feels like it's burning. Her heart is drumming, and she's scolding herself. How am I supposed to pursue him if I'm like this? Neither of us is in the mood to watch the movie until a very explicit, pale scene appears. High-pitched moans echo through the theater. I'm stunned by the bluntness of the images. This can be shown? Is this a low-budget indie film? There aren't many viewers, but I can hear whispered discussions. I feel awkward. bringing someone to a movie and seeing this. Ruan Mengyao is also shocked. She picked the film randomly and didn't know there was a scene like this that lasts for over 2 minutes. How did this pass censorship? We sit there stiff and restless for the entire 1 hour and 40 minutes, with zero communication, not knowing what the movie was actually about. Art films are often like that. It's like you didn't even watch it. I follow Ruan Mengyao out, noticing she's even walking with her arms and legs out of sync from the awkwardness. I can't help but laugh. Hearing me, she stops and turns, looking fierce. No laughing! I quickly pull back the smile and look at her seriously. I'm not laughing. If the lingering amusement weren't in my eyes, it might be more believable. Ruan Mengyao feels like her brain has left her body because she's with me, so she doesn't know exactly what I'm laughing at, but she just feels a bit humiliated. She purses her lips in frustration. I wouldn't dare make her truly angry, so I walk over and clear my throat to change the subject. So, what are we having for lunch? The flush on Ruan Mengyao's face hasn't faded. She really didn't know that movie would have a 3-minute scene like that. What's the difference between this and bringing me to an X-rated movie? The thought makes her want to vanish on the spot. Sichuan food, you love it, don't you? Hearing my question, she answers without thinking. I heard from Yin there's a good Sichuan place here. Su Yin is Ruan Mengyao's best friend. In my last life, she hated me, thinking I was a jerk playing with Mengyao's feelings. It was her attitude and her insults that finally made me realize Ruan Mengyao had loved me for a long, long time. This gave me the confidence to confess, but unfortunately, she was gone before I could. I glance at Ruan Mengyao and see her looking down at her phone, likely asking Su Yin for the name of the restaurant. But you can't eat spicy food, can you? My voice is laced with a bit of heartache and helplessness. She always accommodates me, saying she wants Sichuan food when she can't handle spice. Sichuan food has non-spicy dishes too, she says without looking up, as if it's natural. And don't you like it? It's been like this since we were kids. In kindergarten, it looked like she was bullying me by stealing my strawberry milk, but it was actually because I didn't like it. She'd heard from Aunt Ruan that strawberry milk was just like a sugary drink with no nutrition. But the teacher taught us not to waste food. So after stealing my milk with a reluctant face, she'd take out the milk she brought from home and give it to me. That way I didn't have to force myself to drink what I hated, and the teacher wouldn't scold me. Later in middle school, when my parents divorced and I moved across the city, she would bring her little Bichon Frise across half the town to walk the dog and bring me snacks only available near my old house. When she called me out, she'd act indifferent. I'm just walking the dog. I bought this on the way, do you want it? I've already eaten half. I was miserable back then, but seeing her always made it better. She walked the dog for half a month until her family found out and stopped her. It wasn't safe for a girl to run that far at night. On our birthday, Ms. Zhao and my dad were still in a divorce battle and didn't remember. I posted a photo of some bear cookies on my moments without saying anything. My dad used to bring those for me and my mom every time he came home. Back then, I was still a kid hoping my parents would stay together. That day, Ruan Mengyao came again, handed me bear cookies and said, "Jinan Chuan, the cookies you like are so hard to buy. Don't be picky. Happy birthday. One of my birthday wishes this year is for you. You have to be okay." A week later, I found out that Cookie Shop had closed long ago. Those cookies were made by Ruan Mengyao herself. I saw the injuries on her hands back then, so it's not strange at all that I fell for her. She deserves everyone's love. I sigh. No Sichuan food, let's eat something else. I remember a coconut chicken place nearby that's quite good, lighter flavor. Ruan Mengyao is stunned, but before she can finish her sentence, she feels her wrist being taken by me again as we walk forward. Let's go. There shouldn't be many people at this time. Ruan Mengyao's gaze falls on my hand holding her wrist. She doesn't say what she was going to say, nor does she ask why I'm holding her. It's the second time today. I don't speak either, acting as if I haven't noticed, but the atmosphere between us turns ambiguous again. But sometimes bad luck really comes in waves. The mall isn't that big. Our movie was at least 2 hours, yet somehow we run into Rong Miao Miao and Min Hao again. Before it was a group of guys, now it's just the two of them standing very close. Min Hao is whispering something to her with a very gentle smile. Unless you're blind, you can tell he likes her. Even Ruan Mengyao hesitates and whispers, "Are they a couple?" Just as I shake my head, the two of them see us. Rong Miao Miao, who was very close to Minhao, reflexively pulls away when she sees us. I notice the smile on Minhao's face freeze. Ruan Mengyao's surprised look instantly turns to sympathy. I get it. He's just a fish in her pond. This time, Rong Miao Miao doesn't approach us. She glances at me, noticing we're holding hands again. Earlier, Minhao and the others asked her why she cries every time she sees me with Ruan Mengyao if we're just bros, and she realized her reaction had been too much. No wonder I'm so cold to her now. Rong Miao Miao knows her advantage is being a bro, and she shouldn't panic. Even if I'm with Ruan Mengyao now, so what? As long as she's still my bro, everything is fine. Isn't Ruan Mengyao unable to stand her boyfriend having a female bro? That'll be enough to disgust her. She's known me much longer and surely knows me better. She'll find a chance to squeeze Ruan Mengyao out. Too bad she doesn't know we are childhood friends who have known each other since birth. So when Ruan Mengyao and I see Rong Miao Miao smiling and greeting us, the thought that flashes through our minds is there something wrong with her head? It's a bit creepy. It's not just us. Even Minhao looks at her a few times, his eyes filled with lingering disappointment. Because of her immediate instinct to pull away, the thorn in his heart has gone deeper. He was already uncomfortable because of my words, and her abnormal behavior today has cooled his feelings. No one wants to be strung along forever, especially when she clearly likes someone else. Rong Miao Miao doesn't notice Minhao's mood, but discovers Ruan Mengyao and I looking at her like she's a curiosity. Our expressions are quite similar. She's annoyed but has to pretend not to care. What a coincidence, we won't disturb your date. Hi Ozzy, let's go. Despite this, her sad gaze quickly sweeps over me. I see it, of course, and just think she's being overly dramatic. Her acting is an eyesore. Does she think she's a movie heroine? She takes 2 steps and sighs, as if she just remembered. Jinan Chuan, can you add me back? I already apologized. That was a misunderstanding, she sighs dramatically. Please, it was just a joke. You don't need to be like this. I'll think you actually care. She thinks this sounds good, relaxed, and natural, and that even a normal classmate wouldn't be able to refuse such a direct question. I give an O, and then speak without mercy. I didn't block you because of last night. Didn't you always tell me you'd teach me how to pursue the girl I like? I later found that with you around, it's even harder to catch her. I pause and curl my lip. Also, I think guys should respect themselves too. Putting your arms around girls is inappropriate. Anyway, we aren't close. There's no need to stay in touch. Ruan Mengyao's wrist moves and I grip it tighter, turning to her. I wasn't talking about you. We definitely need to stay in touch. Compared to Rong Miao Miao's pale face, Ruan Mengyao looks dazed. But now she completely believes I'm done with Rong Miao Miao, and that I might even dislike her. Rong Miao Miao wants to cry again, but holds it back. Seeing we aren't paying attention, she turns to leave. She's been rebuffed by me repeatedly these 2 days and can't take it. It's like I'm possessed, giving her no face at all. She feels wronged and angry. After a few steps, she notices Minhao hasn't followed. She turns with red eyes. Minhao, let's go! Don't be an eyesore. Minhao looks at a message on his phone and says flatly, "No, I'm going to play ball." Rong Miao Miao is stunned. Then I'll go too. You don't even play, why go? Minhao asks back, then turns to me. Brother Chuan, you coming? Ask in the group. I glance at Ruan Mengyao. Maybe later. We haven't eaten. Ruan Mengyao knows I love playing ball and says, go ahead. I smile. Then, will you go with me? Ruan Mengyao is surprised, but after these 2 days of me not following the script, she seems used to it. We'll see. Rong Miao Miao grips her phone. She just checked. There are no ball games being arranged in the small group, so they have a group without her. She feels humiliated like a joke and walks away without looking back. Minhao can't help but follow her, but remembers to turn and tell me before catching up. Ruan Mengyao watches their backs and mutters, "Why does this feel like a bad movie?" As a writer, she imagines things easily. She realizes I'm next to her and clears her throat. I didn't mean your friend. She's afraid I'll think she did it on purpose. I pull her forward with a smile. It's fine. We aren't close anyway. whether it's Rong Miao Miao or Min Hao. In my last life, Rong Miao Miao used her connection with me to scam everyone. As for Min Hao, he used the Rong Miao Miao incident to smear me at my university. He even threatened to call the police on me. Other friends weren't that extreme. Later, He Feng told me Min Hao had liked Rong Miao Miao for a long time and was likely already dissatisfied with me. That time he just used the situation as an excuse. Although it hasn't happened yet, I am a common man. I can't treat him like a brother anymore. So saying we aren't close is the truth. Hearing this, Ruan Mengyao seems relieved and whispers what she knows. I feel that guy isn't very good either. I think he badmouthed you behind your back once. She stops to see my reaction, afraid I'll be unhappy. Su Yinyin had accidentally let this slip when complaining. Su Yinyin always said my 2 eyes were just for breathing, and that I let all sorts of people around me. She said if my grades weren't so good, she'd think my brain was just decoration. Of course, Ruan Mengyao wouldn't tell me that. She's just hinting. I used to be rebellious and didn't like people criticizing my friends, and since our relationship was poor, she didn't dare say anything. Today was a test, and she didn't expect me not to be angry. I was just surprised. That early? Earlier than I thought. He had issues with me, but it's no big deal. His grades are average, and his university is out of town. It's mid-August. Their school is about to start. In this life, staying away from Rong Miao Miao means I won't have much to do with him. Don't waste time on irrelevant people. Let's go eat. I glance at Ruan Mengyao, not missing her searching look, but I pretend not to notice. It's good that she's curious. That way she'll slowly try to get closer to me. The first step of boiling a frog in warm water. Ruan Mengyao sees my reaction and her lips curl up slightly as I lead her forward. I've really changed. Will we soon be back to our old intimacy? But she doesn't want to just be my sister anymore. We eventually have coconut chicken because I insist. I personally like heavy flavors, but she can't handle them. We missed the peak dining hour so it wasn't crowded. We're familiar with each other. As long as we aren't at odds, the atmosphere is great. We know each other well, so there's no lack of topics. It was a pleasant meal. Ruan Mengyao remembers Min Hao asking me to play ball and asks, "Are you going?" It's almost 4 p.m. Ruan Mengyao calculates that the time spent together today is more than in the past week or even month. This makes her happy. I check my phone and give a not going. They've already played half the game, and I don't want to move right after eating. I remember something. Didn't you always want to go to that new bookstore? It's nearby. Let's browse. How did you know? Ruan Mengyao is shocked. She did forward the opening info a week ago, but how did I know? A week ago, she was still on my blacklist, unless I specifically checked her moments. The thought makes her nervous. My words confirm her thought. I saw it when I was browsing your moments last night. Why were you browsing my moments? She can't help but ask. I looked down at the navigation. 8 minutes on foot. Let's walk to help digestion. Ruan Mengyao thinks I don't want to answer and feels disappointed. Browsing your moments is because I want to know what you've been thinking lately. I say easily. Otherwise, why would I look? Ruan Mengyao's fingers curl slightly and her heart speeds up. Quote, I see an ice cream shop ahead. Do you want some? Strawberry? Ruan Mengyao nods reflexively. Wait here. I turn and run over. My teenage silhouette is like a breeze passing her, carrying the scent of body wash and laundry detergent, a scent she knows well. She watches my back, her smile growing. Maybe pursuing me isn't as hard as she thought. If I'm this gentle, could she make a move? This is Jinan Chuan. Although she doesn't know why I suddenly grew out of my rebellious phase, this is the version of me she knows best. I return with 2 ice creams, 1 strawberry, 1 avocado. I actually don't like this stuff, but every time she eats hers, she wants to try the other flavors, so I just buy her 2 favorites. I'll end up eating the rest anyway. She happily says thanks, but after a few bites of strawberry, she starts eyeing mine. Because of the distance of the past 2 years, she's a bit restrained. Before, she would have just taken it. It makes my heart ache. I hand it over. Eat it, I haven't touched it. I reach for her strawberry one, but she doesn't trade. She just asks, Jinan Chuan, if you have a girlfriend in the future, will you be this good to her too? I freeze, then shake my head. No, I'll be even better to her. I look at her. There's no disappointment in her eyes. Instead, something is sparkling. How good? Do you want to try it? Ruan Mengyao raises an eyebrow. Try what? Try being my girlfriend, and you'll find out how I treat a girlfriend. My voice is full of laughter, sounding like a joke. Ruan Mengyao isn't angry. That won't do. A smile spreads across her face. My boyfriend. I'll pursue him myself. I'll be very, very good to him. She doesn't take my ice cream and turns to walk away. To the bookstore! Why do I feel like she changed after just getting an ice cream? Weren't my words obvious enough? They were, but Ruan Mengyao really wants to pursue me herself. No one says it has to be the guy pursuing the girl, right? I said I have a girl I like, but the description I gave, where would you find someone like that? I didn't say who it was. She feels like I'm testing her. Whether it is or not, the next few days will tell. There's plenty of time. Not everything has to be done in one day. We walk to the bookstore. It's huge, 3 floors. To me, Ruan Mengyao is a contradictory person. She likes sports and she likes books. She can spend a whole day in a bookstore and ignore me. Right now, I watch her sitting by the window reading intently and smile helplessly. I stand up to find a book myself. This is the reading area, very quiet. As soon as I stand, she looks up. She sees me walking toward the magazine section, then sees 2 girls at a nearby table nudge each other, and one gets up to follow me. I'm good-looking and had many girls like me in school, but I'm sitting right here with her. How are these girls so bold? Ruan Mengyao wants to sigh. If she were bolder, she wouldn't be afraid to confess. She's a bit unhappy, puts down her book, and follows. The girl is timid after all. When Ruan Mengyao sees me wandering by the shelves, the girl hasn't approached yet. She raises an eyebrow and walks over. I'm looking at a magazine on the top shelf. Just as I reach for it, someone suddenly squeezes in front of me. I'm stunned, but before I can move away, I smell that familiar scent, the same as mine. Our body wash is bought in bulk by Ms. Zhao. I'm a bit confused, then look down to see Ruan Mengyao with her back to me, squeezed in front. It's like she's leaned into my chest. She's 168 centimeters, which puts her just under my nose. A smile appears in my eyes and my body relaxes. What are you doing, throwing yourself into my arms like this? I whisper. I feel her body stiffen. She did it on purpose, calculating that if she squeezed in, there would be a distance, even if it looked close. That was assuming I wouldn't suddenly lower my voice and lean in. Though we aren't touching, she feels my breath by her ear and my heat seems to transfer to her across the small gap. Her body freezes, her face heats up, and she regrets her impulse. Why did she think of squeezing right in front of him? What does this look like? Quote, she seemed a bit flustered as he pointed to a book slightly higher up. Get that one for me. My gaze swept over his bright red ears, and the smile in my eyes was becoming hard to suppress, but I didn't expose him. I reached out and took down the magazine he pointed out. At this moment, Ruan Mengyao was filled with regret. Why had she been so impulsive? Taking the magazine, she just wanted to turn around, say a quick thanks and leave, having no mind for whether that girl had left or not. Thanks. But she forgot how close we were standing. Turning around like that brought us face to face. I was already slightly bowing my head, and as she looked up, the distance between us closed instantly, so close I could see her eyelashes fluttering in panic and the helplessness in her eyes. Our noses almost touched. My Adam's apple bobbed as I uncontrollably swallowed. Her lips were small and soft, looking very easy to kiss. But that thought was too rogue-like, inappropriate, or at least inappropriate for now. I felt a bit of regret. After her thanks got stuck, I chose to take a slight step back. It's nothing. Then, I watched as the little girl who had so bravely squeezed in front of me turned and sprinted away. Originally, I didn't quite understand her inexplicable maneuver. Wasn't she just reading? Why did she suddenly come over to ask me for a magazine? It wasn't until shortly after she left, when a girl walked up to me with her phone, that I seemed to understand. Sorry to bother you. Was that your girlfriend just now? The girl asked softly, her eyes very bright. I smiled and didn't deny it. The girl happily opened her phone. I'm really sorry, but the scene and atmosphere just now were too good. I couldn't help but snap a few photos. Do you want them? In the photos, my hand was resting lightly on the girl's back, though there was a gap and we weren't touching. We were looking at each other. My gaze held a smile, while hers was frantic. The sunset's afterglow shone on them, looking as beautiful as a magazine cover. I looked at the girl with some surprise. She introduced herself bashfully. "I'm a photography student and have a small studio. I noticed you and your girlfriend earlier. I originally wanted to invite you to be my model, but I didn't expect to capture these photos by accident. Rest assured, if you don't agree, I won't post them, even though they are truly beautiful." Ultimately, I took out my phone and added her on WeChat, and she sent me the photos. Ruan Mengyao, sitting at her spot, happened to see this scene. The blush and racing heartbeat of her shy expression faded. I had added that girl's WeChat. Coming out of the bookstore, I noticed Ruan Mengyao was silent. "What's wrong?" "Nothing." She let out a breath and looked at the message on her phone. "Auntie told us to come home for dinner." I froze and took out my phone, certain there were no messages. Why didn't my mom message me? And isn't she on a business trip for a week? Coming back so soon? Ruan Mengyao glanced at me, still feeling stifled. "I don't know." Then she bowed her head to call a car. I looked at her, feeling like she was brooding. But why? Just then, that girl and her friend also came out of the bookstore. Seeing us waiting for a car, she smiled and said hello. I smiled back politely. After all, I had just taken photos from her. The girl didn't stay long and left quickly. Then I heard Ruan Mengyao suddenly speak. "Don't you like girls who are pretty, have good figures, and whose personalities seem cold and a bit proud but are actually clingy and sweet in private?" Such a long string. It was hard for her to remember it all. From the moment she started saying it, I was certain she was jealous. She must have seen me exchanging WeChat with that girl. Thinking back to when she had somehow heard a rumor about me being in a puppy love relationship, she had just come back from playing baseball and came to my house with a baseball bat. Looking fierce as she said puppy love wasn't allowed and looked ready to break my legs. I wanted to laugh. You should know that this later became He Feng's nightmare. He even adapted countless versions of it, always feeling like he was frequently beaten by Ruan Mengyao. "Yeah, I do like the type you described," I nodded with a smile. So was that girl just now that type?" Ruan Mengyao's voice was a bit hesitant. That girl just now could only be considered delicate at best, and her figure wasn't as good as hers. I looked at her wide, bulging eyes, feeling a bit helpless. "No, what does it have to do with her?" I said, clicking on the photo I just saved. I added her just for this. Ruan Mengyao looked at the seemingly intimate photo on the phone, unable to snap out of it. This was taken in the library just now. It's so well shot. And she noticed I had set it as my background. This photo, her voice stammered, embarrassed by her own blunder. Why had she been making so many blunders these past 2 days? But did that girl take this photo? Ruan Mengyao's eyes flickered, not daring to look at me. Just a moment ago, she was questioning me. So embarrassing. I was in a great mood and gave a, it shot well, right? That girl is a photographer and wanted to invite me to be a model, but I refused and just asked her for these photos. I explained the misunderstanding in a few sentences. This made Ruan Mengyao even more embarrassed. Yet I added a question. "Were you jealous just now?" As soon as these words came out, Ruan Mengyao wanted to vanish on the spot. Fortunately, the car arrived. Without looking back, she pulled open the car door and got in, closing it behind her. The meaning was clear. She wanted me to sit in the front so I couldn't see her blushing. I raised an eyebrow, but still opened the passenger door and sat down. The driver thought we were a young couple having a tiff and didn't say much after a glance. Halfway through the ride, my phone vibrated. It was a message from Ruan Mengyao. I raised an eyebrow. It was just 6 words. "Send me the photo." Not even a single punctuation mark. I suppressed a laugh and sent her the photo. In the back seat, Ruan Mengyao looked at the photo she received and curled her lips slightly. She clicked to save the original image, then set it as the chat background. After hesitating, she set it as her wallpaper too. She clicked through the photos one by one, mainly looking at me. The expression on my face and the light in my eyes were so gentle, they felt a bit unreal. Anyone seeing these photos would probably think we were a couple. A couple. Ruan Mengyao looked up at the person in the passenger seat, only to meet my gaze looking back through the rearview mirror. I saw her expression freeze. Then she appeared calm but was actually flustered as she looked away. I seemed to have found a new pleasure. Watching Ruan Mengyao when she couldn't hide her expression was very cute. It didn't take long to get from the mall to the house. The two of us got out of the car and walked into the neighborhood, one after the other. Then encountered Ms. Zhao, who had just come out to buy groceries. Ms. Zhao's original name is Zhao Ying, my mom, a female powerhouse. When she divorced my dad, she almost made him leave with nothing. She's a tough one. Of course, I don't pity my dad at all, as it was his infidelity with a mistress first. The most disgusting part was that his son was already in 9th grade. That's why I reacted so strongly when I saw Ruan Mengyao in contact with her dad. I spent the first 6 months in a daze, my grades plummeting. Thinking back now, during that time, Ruan Mengyao would often cross half the city to find me, initially using the dog as an excuse, and later not even needing the dog. Whenever she had free time or a holiday, she'd come for me and drag me out. It was effective. I did slowly move on. Ruan Mengyao even considered transferring to my school, but it was too far from her home, and her family ultimately didn't agree. Now, I watched my mom, Ms. Zhao, looking very happy as she walked over and hugged Ruan Mengyao. "I'm a whole person here too," I shouted helplessly. Ms. Zhao finally let go of Ruan Mengyao, glanced at me, and gave me a quick hug. "All right, young master. I saw you. Let's go home." "I know your admission notices arrived, so I hurried back. It was my fault for not seeing you off on the day of the college entrance exam, but I've finally made it back this time." Ms. Zhao led one of us in each hand toward the house, her face full of joy. "But how did you two end up going out together today? That's so rare." Although Zhao Ying wasn't home much, she knew her son was awkward. Every time he saw Yao Yao, he'd turn and leave. He was like that at home, so she didn't even dare imagine how he was outside. So seeing them go out and come back together today was truly a surprise. I was a bit speechless. "You knew we were together and didn't message me? You only messaged Yao Yao?" As soon as Yao Yao left my mouth, Ruan Mengyao couldn't help but look at me, then met my bright smile. Zhao Ying also found it strange and glanced at me. "What are you calling her Yao Yao for? Call her sister Yao Yao," I asked, and knew you were together, otherwise I would have messaged you separately. Am I that irresponsible of a mother? Right, you're not. Because Ms. Zhao was there, the original ambiguous and awkward atmosphere between the two of us was broken. Instead, it was a rare time of harmonious coexistence for the three of us. Previously, the main reason for all the disharmony was me. Dinner was made by Ms. Zhao, and she made noodles. She has a special fondness for noodles. I noticed Ruan Mengyao didn't eat much. Ms. Zhao then remembered something. "Yao Yao, your mom called me last night? Did you have another fight?" The smile on Ruan Mengyao's face retracted slightly. She gave a soft, and said, "Sorry, Auntie Zhao, I've caused you trouble." "What trouble? You're so sensible and don't need looking after." "On the contrary, Yao Yao, thank you for helping me keep an eye on this brat all these years." Ms. Zhao glanced at me and insisted this kid's grades were good, but his rebellious phase seemed a bit long. My parents divorced when I was in 8th grade. Actually, everyone has more or less let it go by now, except for me. All these years, every time Zhao Ying went on a business trip, she was quite worried. Fortunately, Ruan Mengyao was there to help her watch over me. Now, Ms. Zhao looked at the well-behaved, beautiful girl sitting next to her son and sighed. Zhao Ying was always thinking, "If only you were my daughter." But your parents, words are also for your own good. If you're unwilling, talk to them properly. Don't fight every time. Ruan Mengyao pursed her lips and whispered, "I know." "Auntie Zhao." I couldn't help but speak up. "Mom, why did Auntie Ruan fight with Yao Yao? Why is this person calling her Yao Yao again?" Ruan Mengyao glanced at me, but I was staring at Ms. Zhao. Ms. Zhao rolled her eyes. "Seeing you like this, I know you usually don't care about the family. Uncle Ruan and Auntie Ruan want Yao Yao to go to university abroad. Everything is prepared." "I don't want to go." Ruan Mengyao softly interrupted Ms. Zhao's words. "I want to stay in the country." Ms. Zhao glanced at her, smiled, and reached out to pat her. "Fine, then we'll stay here since Auntie Zhao is here." Because of this topic, Ruan Mengyao's mood was clearly not great. After dinner, she was stopped by Ms. Zhao when she tried to help clean up, so she went back to her room first. I was dragged by my mom to help wash the dishes. While washing, she kept rambling, asking how I'd been lately. I answered, it was just so-so. The topic soon turned back to Ruan Mengyao. Actually, your uncle and aunt didn't want Yao Yao to stay, but she insisted back then. At that time, her grandmother was still around, so your uncle and aunt didn't insist. But now her grandmother is gone too, and her close relatives are gone, so that's why your uncle and aunt are worried. I took the dishes she handed me, wiped them dry, and put them in the disinfection cabinet. Don't they still have us? That's true, but how can parents not worry? No matter how close we are, we're just neighbors. If only Yao Yao were my daughter, we'd be one family, Ms. Zhao lamented. She truly liked Ruan Mengyao. She liked everything about the girl she'd watched grow up. I pulled out a tissue, wiped my hands, and said seriously, Mom, actually, it's not like she has to be a daughter to be family. A daughter-in-law is also family, right? Ms. Zhao reacted for a good while before understanding what I meant. Her eyes widened, and the next second she reached out to slap me. What are you talking about, you brat? Yao Yao is your sister. I didn't dodge, letting her seemingly fierce but actually powerless slap land on me. Tisk. I frowned and looked at her. Mom, get real. Ruan Mengyao isn't my biological sister. Her last name is Ruan. She's only staying at our house temporarily. If I pursue her, that's when she'll truly be one of us. After hearing this, my mom's movements became even lighter. She glanced at me, probably thinking how she hadn't seen this intention in me before. Previously, didn't I turn and leave every time I saw Yao Yao? Was this kid just shy? When did you start thinking this way? My mom stared at me and asked, conveniently turning off the faucet. Neither of us noticed that Yao Yao's door had just opened. She was a bit dazed just now, maybe thinking that since Auntie Zhao had just returned, why hadn't she helped with the dishes? As a result, just as she pulled open her door, she heard my mom say, Yao Yao is your sister, and my answer. Right, her last name is Ruan. She didn't push the door and come out in the end, likely feeling bad. She originally thought our relationship had softened a bit, and maybe with some time it could be like before, but in my eyes she didn't seem to be my family yet, just because her last name was Ruan. Yao Yao felt stifled, pained, and conflicted as she closed the door. At this point, I didn't know my backyard was about to catch fire. I answered my mom. When? Probably in 10th grade, or even earlier. If I were 18, I might be too embarrassed to tell my mom I liked Yao Yao. It was a bit awkward to admit that in front of her. But at 24, I'm more mature after all. There's nothing I can't say about liking Yao Yao. She's so outstanding, isn't it normal to like her? She's excellent, beautiful, sensible, and has good grades. She's the type all you elders like. I like her too. This proves I have good taste. Right, Mom? I said to her with a smile. My mom rolled her eyes but didn't deny my words, as she'd watched Yao Yao grow up and naturally knew how excellent she was. Does Yao Yao know your thoughts? My mom's tone softened. She'd likely also come around to the idea that if I could pursue Yao Yao, wouldn't she become her daughter-in-law? And a daughter-in-law is family. How great would that be? Provided I can actually catch her. I haven't told her yet. I rubbed my nose, my expression a bit awkward. I was just about to start when you came back. Originally, a man and woman alone could always have some sparks, right? And there were some. After this whole day, I felt things were going pretty well, but then you came back, and our world for two was gone. As soon as I finished speaking, my head was smacked by my mom. Listen to yourself. Is that reasonable? My mom rolled her eyes. I have to go back to being busy the day after tomorrow. I won't bother you for too long. You'd better actually have the ability. Don't end up not catching her. Saying this, she took out her phone and transferred another sum of money to me. Spend what you need to... Do I still need to teach you how to pursue a girl? I looked at my wealthy mom and nodded seriously. Yes, I do. Can't you search online? My mom rolled her eyes again. In my youth, I was always the one being pursued. Looking at me like this, my mom felt like I might not be able to catch her and was a bit worried. Just follow her heart. Girls need to be cared for carefully. Also, you've known each other for so long, you have to see if Yao Yao feels the same way, otherwise aren't you just pushing her away? I thought to myself, I know her feelings all too well, but I had to slowly confirm if it was true, otherwise I would have confessed long ago. I was also afraid of scaring her away, mainly because my change was so sudden it was as if I had been possessed. After my mom gave a few more instructions, she turned to her room to shower and rest, even promising me she wouldn't come out and to let me perform well. Looking at her back, I found it funny. How could I perform well with her at home? Yao Yao would likely be even more embarrassed. Thinking that Yao Yao didn't eat much for dinner, I went to the fridge, took out some cream puffs my mom had just bought, poured a glass of milk, and went to knock on Yao Yao's door. Before this, I was still a bit uncertain. Through what happened just now, I knew that Yao Yao's sudden departure in the previous life was primarily due to those rumors about me and wrong Miao Miao. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't have left. At least from her tone just now, she actually didn't want to study abroad at all. Thinking of this, I felt even more that my mouth back then was just for decoration. I let out a sigh and gently knocked on the door in front of me. After a while, I heard footsteps inside, and the door was pulled open. Yao Yao, who was drying her hair, thought it was my mom and had already started speaking. "Auntie, I'll call my parents in a bit." She actually knew that by thick-skinnedly refusing to go abroad, she was making things difficult for Auntie Zhao. Yao Yao had always been very grateful for Auntie Zhao's hospitality and care. And Zhao Ying had indeed always looked after her in daily life. Actually, when her grandmother passed away, her mother wanted her to go abroad, but Yao Yao refused at that time. She didn't want to leave then, at least after confessing, right? She had to give her love a result. But up until she transferred to my school, she hadn't had the chance to talk to me properly, and the misunderstanding about the love letter had arisen between us, not to mention that a girl named Rong Miao Miao had appeared by my side. You should know that before this, Yao Yao knew very well that I had no patience for interacting with girls, but that girl named Rong Miao Miao seemed to be an exception, often following me around and playing well with a group of boys. So Yao Yao hesitated and had dragged it out until now. She would receive a call from her mother about 2 or 3 times a month. The last fight was about the issue of going abroad. Her mother said if she didn't go, she wouldn't pay her tuition or living expenses. Actually, Yao Yao wasn't afraid of any of this. She'd been writing novels online since she turned 18 in 11th grade. She probably had some talent as the first one became a hit, and now she'd saved quite a bit of money, at least enough for tuition and living expenses. Moreover, she was currently negotiating the publication of a book. If it succeeded, it would be a significant income. She was perfectly fine taking care of herself. But perhaps she shouldn't stay at my house anymore. After all, I'd already said she wasn't my family. Now, Yao Yao looked at me, her tone cold. Is something the matter? Ruan Mengyao's cold attitude made me freeze for a moment. Weren't things just fine a moment ago? I raised the cream puffs in my hand. I saw you didn't eat much of the noodles earlier. My mom just loves noodles. Are you hungry? Want a cream puff? Ruan Mengyao's gaze fell on my hand holding the cream puffs, and she shook her head gently. Thanks, I'm not hungry. I felt her mood seemed a bit low. I handed over the milk. Then want some milk? Ruan Mengyao pursed her lips, looked at the milk I was offering, and asked in a low voice, "Is it because I'm a guest that you're being so polite to me?" I, who had originally thought to make a good impression as someone attentive, was confused. What guest? What polite? I asked back, puzzled. I'm just worried you didn't eat enough. In the end, Ruan Mengyao still didn't ask. After all, she had no standing to ask this. She was just staying here. It was better this way. If she moved out, she definitely wouldn't be my sister. I ended up eating the cream puffs and milk. I feel that at this age, Ruan Mengyao is just like me at 18 or 19, keeping everything bottled up. Is this a skill exclusive to our age group? I just wanted to sigh. Finally, I went to shower. At most, I'll ask what's going on tomorrow. The next day, when Ms. Zhao was having her rare breakfast at home, she said to me quite naturally, "Go see your father tomorrow. He said he hasn't seen you in a long time." Hearing this, Ruan Mengyao looked up at me. As expected, my original movement of picking up food stalled. Ms. Zhao let out a sigh. "Why are you more stubborn than I am?" "Son, your dad truly wasn't a good man, but his love for you is real. It's different between him and me than it is between him and you." Ms. Zhao put down her chopsticks. "After all these years, I'm about to let it go, yet you can't." I noticed Ruan Mengyao had also stopped moving. I reached out and put some side dish into her bowl, my voice flat. "Mom, I'm an adult. Whether I forgive or not is up to me." In the end, Ms. Zhao didn't convince me. I couldn't forgive my dad. On his wedding anniversary with my mom, he took a call from a mistress and left, saying it was overtime at the company. But he actually went to dinner with the mistress's family of 3. As a result, he was in a car accident on the way back. When my mom and I rushed to the hospital, we saw him comforting that injured child and woman. My mom and I stood outside the hospital room door, watching him. I had prepared a piano piece as a wedding anniversary gift, and my mom had prepared a table full of food and changed into new clothes. But my dream shattered that day. Many people advised me, thinking I should be more mature, but this has nothing to do with maturity. I can't forgive, precisely because my dad had once been too good to me. I can't accept this kind of disparity, no matter what age I am. Ms. Zhao didn't force me. After saying a few words and seeing I was still insistent, she stopped. Actually, she was also just a woman hurt by the man she loved. She wasn't that generous that she could truly forget. I basically spent the whole day in my room. In my previous life, I was a manga artist and often stayed up late, which is probably why I died suddenly the moment I stood up. My university major was also related to manga, animation design. Just after graduating, I'd become somewhat famous for my serialized short manga. But in this life, I plan to move the timeline forward and start making money earlier. I don't know how other people who reincarnate can remember money-making opportunities so clearly. Maybe I'm too much of a homebody. I really don't remember much. But I'm still very good at drawing manga. The manga I debuted with and became popular for was a story about a pair of childhood friends growing up based on me and Ruan Mengyao. The day I planned to confess happened to be the day the boy in the manga confessed to the girl. Unfortunately, in reality, I lost Ruan Mengyao that day. Thinking back now, when I died suddenly, I was still short of giving the manga a perfect wedding ending. It all seemed arranged. Both times were just a bit short. So this time I'm starting early, not wanting to be a bit short every time. This time we'll definitely have a perfect ending, both for the manga and for Ruan Mengyao and me. Ms. Zhao went out in the afternoon, telling each of us separately at the door. Toward evening, my phone rang. It was a call from my dad. I hesitated for a second and didn't pick up, directly silencing the phone. Sure enough, after 10 minutes or so, Ruan Mengyao knocked on the door. I put down my pen and turned to open the door. Ruan Mengyao stood at the door, glanced at me and said, "It's time to eat." I saw some leftovers in the house and cooked them. I gave a and followed her out. At home, she wore loungewear, her hair tied up to reveal her slender, fair neck. Looking from behind at the little swan with its head held high, I washed my hands and sat across from Ruan Mengyao. Ruan Mengyao spoke. "Uncle G came just now and brought things for you." I opened the door. Saying this, she glanced at me. I said you might not want them. He said Auntie Zhao told him to bring them up. Different from her expectation, I didn't have a cold face, but just gave an My mood was fairly calm. Originally, she thought I'd be as angry as before. If you don't want to pick up the phone in the future, then don't. I realized as soon as I said it that it sounded wrong. To Ruan Mengyao, my dad is an elder after all. Even though my parents are divorced, it hasn't affected the friendly relationship between the two families and the Ruans. I let out a breath. It's nothing. I'll pick up his calls from now on. Ruan Mengyao found me a bit hard to read now. Yesterday she thought our relationship had softened, but then at night, I said those words about her not being part of our family. Today, saying this seemed like I was considering her feelings. She couldn't fathom my meaning, so she simply stopped guessing. "Jinanchuan, do you still hate me?" she suddenly asked. I looked up at her with some surprise. "I don't hate you," I paused. "About that time you met my dad, I know it was a misunderstanding on my part. I'm sorry. I owe you an apology." It was only after the weight of my previous life that I knew it was a misunderstanding. I truly owed her. Ruan Mengyao didn't expect me to suddenly apologize and took a good while to recover. "Gee, Nanchuan, I really can't understand you anymore." Her eyes were fixed on me, full of doubt. "Do you really not hate me?" I figured it was time to explain clearly. "I have never hated you. Perhaps my behavior of avoiding you before caused a misunderstanding." My tone was very calm, and even Ruan Mengyao's originally restless mood calmed down. Her beautiful eyes looked straight at me, and she gently bit her pink lips. "Forget it. I'll just be direct. You know my personality has never been good at beating around the bush." Ruan Mengyao's voice was crisp. "We grew up together. I originally thought I understood you well, but since your parents divorced, it feels like everything changed. I don't seem to understand you." At this, her gaze dimmed a bit. "I don't know what's in your heart. I don't understand why being apart for just a week made us so distant. You have many friends. When you saw your dad looking for me before, you wouldn't even listen to my explanation." Ruan Mengyao looked at me. "Before, I didn't know the main reason for their divorce, but I knew you definitely wanted them to be well. They were both very good to you before, so that's why I advised you. Later, after knowing the reason, I felt I had overstepped. I wanted to apologize, but you wouldn't listen." Our relationship hit a freezing point. She gave a self-deprecating laugh. "For over a year, I haven't understood you, just like your changes these past few days, hot and cold. I don't understand, and I don't want to guess anymore. We are just neighbors, friends who used to be close. If you really feel we can't talk properly, then fine, forget it. I won't pester you." After saying this, she lowered her eyelashes. Her lashes were very long, successfully hiding all the emotion in her eyes. "I couldn't even get a word in." She said so much in one go, and I didn't get a single word in. Seeing her finally stop, I quickly spoke up. "No, I didn't. Listen to my sophistry. No, listen to my explanation. I didn't hate you. Just treat it as my rebellious phase before. Anyway, I've never hated you." I spoke seriously. "About my dad looking for you, my mindset was indeed immature. At that time, my first feeling was being betrayed. A helpless expression appeared on my face. To say something a bit Chunibyo, in my heart, anyone could betray me, except you. Because you are different." After I said this, Ruan Mengyao looked up at me in surprise, meeting my serious gaze. At that time, I truly felt the whole world could misunderstand me, but you would definitely stand by my side. Hadn't it been like that for over 10 years? Back then, I was truly rebellious and chunibyo. I couldn't forgive my dad's betrayal, nor did I understand why my mom, after breaking down, composed her emotions so quickly to divorce him without even making a scene or listening to explanations. In her eyes, it seemed there was only getting more money from him. Of course, now I can understand. After all, given Ms. Zhao's personality, she certainly wouldn't want a soiled relationship. But at that time, I didn't understand. That's why I was so angry seeing Ruan Mengyao in contact with my dad. But after the anger and sadness, it also made me realize that my feelings for Ruan Mengyao were different. This possessiveness exceeded that of childhood friends. It troubled me. It was the first time I liked someone, and it was someone I grew up with. I was a bit lost and overwhelmed, but mostly afraid. Having just experienced my parents' divorce, I didn't even dare to think carefully about what this feeling was. I chose to distance myself from Ruan Mengyao, eventually creating this awkward situation. The root cause was the twisted mindset of a 17 or 18-year-old boy. I know our relationship is quite awkward and probably makes you uncomfortable too. I thought we just lacked a chance to talk properly. Now we have it, don't we? I looked seriously at Ruan Mengyao. Anyway, I've never hated you, and it's impossible for me to hate you. I like you. But I didn't dare say it yet. Ruan Mengyao's grip on her chopsticks was very tight, her fingertips starting to turn white. Finally, she put down the chopsticks and asked in a low voice, "Last night you told Auntie I wasn't part of your family. I heard it. Do you want me to move out?" Originally, hearing the first part, I was a bit embarrassed. She'd heard my secret, unspoken thoughts. But the latter part was like a bucket of cold water. I also put down my chopsticks. "Why do you only listen to half of a conversation? And it has to be this fatal half." Who would want her to move out? She hadn't heard a single word of my later confession-like remarks. Ruan Mengyao, hearing the urgency and speechlessness in my tone, widened her eyes and said innocently, "I accidentally eavesdropped. Should I have kept listening? That would be impolite, wouldn't it?" Fine, she had a point. I was speechless. No, my meaning was telling my mom that currently you aren't family, but if we changed our relationship, my mom could tell Uncle Ruan and the others to let you keep staying at our house. Although in our hearts, you've always been one of us. I emphasized the last sentence quite loudly. Ruan Mengyao's discomfort vanished instantly, and a smile returned to her lips. She muttered, "Then you still have a bit of a conscience. I've cooked for you for so long. If you said I wasn't part of the family, how heart-wrenching would that be?" This tone was very much like before. We didn't have any major conflicts, just some awkward little misunderstandings. Now that things were out in the open, Ruan Mengyao also accepted the rebellious phase and throwing a tantrum explanation, and her emotions naturally relaxed. He took a sip of soup and suddenly remembered something. "What did you mean by changing our relationship?" I was also drinking soup, and hearing this question, I felt I could drop a hint. It's the kind of relationship where it's perfectly natural for you to stay at my house. What kind do you think it is? I put down the soup bowl and added, "We really aren't blood related." Look, this hint and guidance was obvious enough, right? Ruan Mengyao looked thoughtful. "Actually, I'm an adult. My parents don't have much say in where I live. And this relationship you mentioned," she glanced at me, a bit reluctantly. "Do I have to take Auntie Zhao as my godmother? If so, wouldn't the relationship become messy if she pursued me? Do you really want to be my sister?" My voice was helpless. Ruan Mengyao said, dissatisfied, "What do you mean, want to be? I was already older than you." Yes, 5 minutes older. You're big, you're the biggest." After my perfunctory reply, we looked at each other and both burst into laughter. At this moment, the barrier between us seemed to be broken. The people on either side of the barrier no longer needed to cautiously guess each other's thoughts. For the first time since my rebirth, I felt relaxed, and I realized once again that as long as I spoke, Ruan Mengyao would believe me. Even if the excuse wasn't great, it didn't matter. She just believed it. This made me happy and gave me peace of mind. Just as I expected, everyone else might stand against me, but Ruan Mengyao would always choose me without hesitation. On her end, after confirming with me again that I had no intention of her moving out, Ruan Mengyao went back to her room at ease. I really didn't know how she got that idea. It was absurd. But Ruan Mengyao was clearly in a good mood. After eating, she said righteously, "I cook, you wash. Go wash the dishes," and then went to her room to fiddle with who knows what. I wasn't angry. Seeing her return to her relaxed self, I felt comfortable. This was much more natural than her cautiously observing my expression. I let out a breath. This was very good. Back in her room, Ruan Mengyao sat on the edge of her bed, touching her fluttering heart. She really liked this feeling. The relationship between them had finally softened. She sat for a while, then took out her phone to call her parents. A gentle female voice answered quickly. "Yao Yao, have you thought it over? When are you coming over? Mom will book the ticket for you." "Mom, I'm still not going abroad." Ruan Mengyao's voice was very soft. "I want to attend university in China. I like it here. The person I like is also here." There was silence for a while, then the gentle voice turned cold. "Yao Yao, Mom made it very clear before. If you're still unwilling to go abroad to study, the family won't give you any more living expenses or tuition. Though Auntie Zhao is good to you, you'd be too embarrassed to keep bothering her, wouldn't you?" Ruan Mengyao gave an her voice still firm. "I know. I won't bother Auntie Zhao. I'll figure out the living expenses and tuition myself." "Yao Yao." Ruan's mother's voice on the other end was a bit frustrated. "Why exactly are you unwilling to go abroad? We let you stay before because of Grandma, but now there's no one close to you in China. Why are you still?" "Mom, I have someone I like here." After saying this, Ruan Mengyao felt only relief, and her smile was brilliant. Ruan's mother's voice instantly rose. "What? You have someone you like? Since when? Who is it? You're not refusing to go abroad because of puppy love, are you?" "No, Mom. I haven't even caught him yet." That night, my door was knocked on by Ms. Zhao. As soon as I opened it, she shoved me inside and closed the door behind her, reflexively. I glanced at the drawing tablet on the desk. "Mom, I'm a big boy now." Fortunately, Ms. Zhao had no time to look at my desk. She pulled over a chair and pushed me. After I sat on the bed, she spoke. "Son, do you know if Yao Yao has someone she likes?" I gave a and looked at the conflicted Ms. Zhao. She didn't wait for my answer. "You just said you'd pursue her to be my daughter-in-law, and after one night, I find out Yao Yao has someone she likes." Ms. Zhao sighed. "If Yao Yao really has someone she likes, my son is out of luck." She had accepted the idea of the girl she'd raised like a daughter becoming her daughter-in-law. It seemed okay, but before she could be happy, her friend called her today to ask if she'd seen who Yao Yao was hanging around with. How would Zhao Ying know? She was barely home for a few days a month, so she could only come to her unlucky son. Ms. Zhao sighed. Her son had met a Waterloo before he even started. How tragic. After hearing the story, my original worry vanished. I relaxed and leaned back, looking at my anxious mom. Did you ever think that person might be me? You? Ms. Zhao rolled her eyes. Even though I did make you quite handsome, given the way you were before, what would she see in you? Your coffin face? Your lack of manners? Or your habit of not looking people in the eye every day? This really is my biological mother. I laughed out of anger. Why couldn't it be me? We grew up together, we're childhood friends. I'm not that bad, am I? Seeing my serious rebuttal, Ms. Zhao looked at me seriously. Son, are you for real? Actually, I think if Yao Yao has someone she likes, you should probably reel in those thoughts, otherwise you two will be quite awkward later. Ms. Zhao, being an adult, felt it would be a pity if the two children's years of friendship turned sour. She heard it had been a bit stiff before. Yao Yao is still living at our house. If things go wrong... She paused and glanced at me. If she moved out, I don't think you'd be at ease, right? Son, look at this. If Yao Yao feels embarrassed to stay because of your confession. Ms. Zhao was truly worried, so she came to me as soon as she returned and asked uneasily, You haven't confessed yet, have you? Not yet. How could it be so sudden? I sighed. But the one she likes really might be me. Actually, it's not might. It is me. Unfortunately, I have no evidence now, and saying this sounds a bit unlucky to outsiders. Ms. Zhao, seeing my confident look, couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. How are you suddenly so confident? Have you seen Yao Yao associate with any other guys besides me? From childhood until now, it's only been me. After saying this, I smiled. I must look really punchable. Seeing my mom's face still full of disbelief, I didn't push it. I stood up, walked to the door, opened it, and called out, Ruan Mengyao! The door next to mine opened, revealing a small face wearing a sheet mask. What? Do you have someone you like? I asked her with a smile. Ruan Mengyao reached out to hold her mask, which almost cracked. Suddenly being called out to be asked this. Seeing Ms. Zhao behind Jinan Chuan, Ruan Mengyao probably guessed her mom had called Auntie Zhao. Her heart, which had been nervously racing, suddenly settled. What kind of question is that? Don't you have someone you like too? Her gaze landed on Ms. Zhao. Auntie, don't mind my mom. She's always making a fuss over nothing. Hearing her say she had a boy she liked, her mother said she was going to book a flight back to see which blonde-haired punk was picking up her precious daughter. Ruan Mengyao felt her mom was a bit over the top. Fortunately, she repeatedly guaranteed that the other party didn't know she liked him, and he wasn't a blonde-haired punk either. Ruan Mengyao glanced at Jinan Chuan's jet black hair. Zhao Ying laughed a bit awkwardly. Yao Yao, it's not that I'm gossiping, it's just your mom is too nervous, so I thought I'd ask. She reached out and pinched me. I hissed. Mom, why are you like this? If you're curious, just ask. My eyes were full of laughter as I looked at Ruan Mengyao. I told my mom that, besides me, there are no other males around you. If you like someone, it has to be me. At this moment, Ruan Mengyao was thankful she was wearing a mask. They couldn't see her face turn instantly red. She rolled her eyes. Jinan Chuan, you're so narcissistic. How could she admit she liked him in front of Auntie? She was a bit panicked after all. Auntie, I'm going to wash off the mask. Really, don't mind my mom. Go on. Before Ms. Zhao's words even landed, the girl fled. Mother and son stood at the door looking at the closed door. I raised an eyebrow at my mom. See? Her ears turned red just now. Ms. Zhao looked at the smug expression on my face and gave a look of feigned disgust. Too bad Yao Yao is so young. Why did she set her sights on you? Actually, she was delighted in her heart. She knew her son wasn't bad. The girl thought she hidden it well, but these two had watched her grow up and knew her too well. Knowing that Ruan Mengyao liked me, Ms. Zhao was at ease. Quote, work hard. I'll handle things on Uncle Ruan and Auntie's side. As for when you catch Yao Yao, that's up to your ability. Look at Yao Yao. she still doesn't want to admit she likes you. How heart-piercing, Mom. Finally satisfied with her jab, Ms. Zhao turned and left. I wanted to sigh even more. Back in my room, I took out my phone and messaged my pinned contact. Yao Yao, shall we go out to play tomorrow? My mom is going on a business trip again tomorrow morning. Let's go out to eat. The reply came quickly. Don't call me Yao Yao. I'm fierce and I bite. I sent back, why? Ruan Mengyao looked at that, why? And covered her face. Because she would blush! Finally, I said I'd take her somewhere fun and managed to get her to agree to come out. I was satisfied and about to put down my phone when Feng sent me a game link. Thinking that I'd been back for so long and besides the initial party hadn't really talked to him, I clicked in. It was PUBG. To my surprise, Min Hao was in there, and finally, Rong Miao Miao joined. He game was set to ready queuing to start. Feng started a private chat. My brother Chuan, I didn't know it was Rong Miao Miao. Haozi asked me to play with Xiao Gang. I thought we needed a fourth, so he asked me to get you. Should we just quit? I was about to say yes, and I actually admired Min Hao a bit. I thought he was quite tough at the mall last time, and was starting to see him in a new light, but it turned out I was overthinking. Brother Chuan, Brother Feng, Xiao Gang just said he had to go out, so I pulled Miao Miao in. She happened to be online. My skills are great too, okay? Wait for me to lead you to a chicken dinner. Rong Miao Miao's voice came through, sounding intentionally boisterous. I messaged Feng. I'm out. Then exited the game and went offline. Feng was a bit slower. Seeing only 3 people left in the squad, he said, I have something with Brother Chuan too. You two are a good match for a duo. I'm off. And then he quit as well. After quitting, my mood instantly brightened. I didn't want to be part of the play between Rong Miao Miao and Min Hao. However they tangled was perfectly fine with me, as long as it had nothing to do with me. In my last life, it was only after Rong Miao Miao was caught that things were revealed. She indeed used her connections to borrow money from those around her. The victims were mostly old high school classmates. The reason she used to involve me was also ridiculous, just because she liked me and didn't get a response. Min Hao never apologized to me even at the end. Instead, he told everyone that I was responsible for Rong Miao Miao turning out like this. To this, I just wanted this crazy couple to be locked together forever so they wouldn't harm others. On the other side, Feng called me after quitting the game. Brother Chuan, I really didn't know about this. I gave an I know you didn't. Feng never liked Rong Miao Miao, let alone help her. Why are you talking in tongue twisters? Feng muttered, remembering the purpose of his call. Brother Chuan, I thought about what you said last time for a long while after I got back. You like Ruan Mengyao? His voice was full of surprise. I gave a, huh? Your reflex arc is quite long, isn't it? Mainly because I can't believe it. You two are the most awkward childhood friends I've ever seen. Especially after she transferred to our school. How many people knew you knew each other? If I hadn't known beforehand, I wouldn't have been able to tell at all, okay? Feng said a long paragraph, in one breath. I thought to myself, the reason we seemed awkward was because we both had feelings for each other. But then I asked Feng, aren't we a good match? There was silence for a while before he said objectively, in terms of looks, it's fine. But seeing your personalities these years, both are so stubborn. Won't you end up twisted like a pretzel? Feng didn't dare say the last part, afraid of being scolded. He remembered something else. Is there any point in you thinking about whether you're a match? Does she like you? And here you are thinking about matching? Feng sighed. Given your EQ, where you couldn't even see Rong Miao Miao's intentions, it wasn't easy for you to realize you like Ruan Mengyao. No matter how it sounded, it felt like he was frustrated with me. Truly, thank you very much. Meanwhile, Ruan Mengyao had already seen Rong Miao Miao's friend request. She was writing a novel when the request popped up. It wasn't strange. But what was strange was that it only said, Rong Miao Miao. Not even a single punctuation mark, which inexplicably made Ruan Mengyao feel very unpleasant. She looked down at it, then took a screenshot and sent it to me. To be honest, Ruan Mengyao had no good feelings toward Rong Miao Miao. After I transferred, I hadn't actively sought out Yao Yao, but she had sought me out twice, and both times she was intercepted by Rong Miao Miao. At that time, I wasn't in the classroom. Ruan Meow Meow was with a group of boys in the back 2 rows, saying something with some profanity. Perhaps those boys saw her and said something. Ruan Meow Meow looked over, stood up, and walked over. It was lunch break and there weren't many people. She asked Ruan Meow directly, "Hello, classmate? Is there something?" Because she was the only female around me, Ruan Meow's feelings toward her were complicated. She was silent for a moment and said, "I'm looking for Ji Nanchuan." The other party's gaze was full of scrutiny, and then she gave a contemptuous laugh. "Sorry, he's not here. Brother Chuan just went to buy water for me." Ruan Meow frowned at her discomfort growing, but she still planned to wait. Unexpectedly, the other party said, "If you have a message, I can pass it for you. Brother Chuan has a bad temper. He probably won't listen to you later anyway. Sometimes I feel bad for you girls pressing your warm faces against his cold butt." Finally, Ruan Meow just gave her a faint look and left. The second time was similar. She wanted to ask me why she was blocked, but she saw Ruan Meow Meow downstairs. The other party walked straight over. "Looking for Brother Chuan? I just saw him block you 2 days ago. You better not look for him. It'll make him angry." Looking back, it was all showing off. Ruan Meow, who originally didn't want to deal with Ruan Meow Meow, clicked accept. After all, she wanted to see what else the other party wanted to say. Before she thought I liked Ruan Meow Meow, so she said nothing. Now that she knew I didn't, and Ruan Meow Meow was delivering herself to the door, she wanted to see what was in the other party's heart. Sure enough, as soon as they became friends, 3 words were sent, Ruan Meow. Ruan Meow sneered. "Otherwise, did you think I was Ji Nanchuan?" At this moment, Ruan Meow Meow was at home, having swept everything off her desk onto the floor. She was stifled with anger. In the game just now, the way Feng and I quit one after another made her feel humiliated. Even though Min Hao comforted her, saying we might actually have something to do. But Ruan Meow Meow knew that Feng didn't like him from the beginning. Now I'm like this too, let alone after I became like this with him. The group of guys we used to hang out with now basically start small group chats without telling him, and they can't even be asked out. Only when Min Hao acts as a middleman will a few boys come out. He seems to be isolated. Originally, Ruan Meow Meow's popularity among girls wasn't great. Those she got along well with were all male friends. At first, Ruan Meow Meow got close to this group of guys just to get close to me, but after a long time, she quite liked this feeling. Being the only girl among a group of boys, she always had many privileges. She also knew those girls didn't like her because of extreme envy. After all, she was being pampered by a group of boys. She really couldn't accept this psychological gap, so after reluctantly finishing a game with Min Hao, she said she was going to take a shower and went offline. Then she added Ruan Meow. Looking at her reply at this moment, Ruan Meow's beautiful face flashed before her eyes. Ruan Meow Meow gritted her teeth and sent another sentence. "Are you and Ji Nanchuan together? Then tell him not to pay attention to me." Ruan Meow was somewhat between laughter and tears seeing this and replied directly with 4 words. "Who are you? Don't take yourself too seriously, okay?" Just then, there was a knock at the door. Ruan Meow opened the door and saw me standing there with my phone. I was just on the phone with Feng. "Is Ruan Meow Meow looking for you?" Ruan Meow didn't think much of it and handed the phone to me. "You chat with her. It's a bit inexplicable," she said, turning to go into the room. The door wasn't closed. I hesitated for a second and decisively followed her in. A girl's room always seems to smell sweet. I caught a scent of oranges. Ruan Meow climbed onto the bed with her laptop and pointed to the chair by the desk. "Sit!" Ruan Meow's room layout was the same as mine, but there were many small objects inside, like the toast pillow on the bed I got from a claw machine and 3 photo frames on the desk. Besides a family portrait, 2 of them were photos with me. Just as I sat down, I saw at a glance a draft paper on the side that said, "Ji Nanchuan is a bastard." I could almost see the little girl sitting here, angrily writing these words. I raised an eyebrow, said nothing, and sat down. My presence was everywhere here, which really made me happy. Ruan Meow didn't notice I was looking at her room. She just said seriously, "Is there something wrong with Ruan Meow Meow?" I then looked down at the phone. Ruan Meow Meow's latest message said, "I used to have a very good relationship with Brother Chuan. Even if you like him and are with him, you can't interfere with her making friends, right? I was also a bit speechless and replied, I am Ji Nanchuan. When was I ever close to you? I like having my friendships interfered with by her. Do you have a problem? After replying, I blocked the contact and handed the phone back to Ruan Mengyao. You don't need to pay attention to her. It's a waste of time. She's like a piece of dogskin plaster. Persistent nuisance. Ruan Mengyao gave a compliant, "Oh." As she reached out for the phone and wanted to say something else, she saw me pick up the draft paper on the desk. Instead of paying attention to her, "Why don't you explain this?" I shook the draft paper gently. Ruan Mengyao's gaze followed my movement, and after a few seconds her eyes widened suddenly. She seemed to have written words scolding me on it. She put down her laptop, jumped off the bed, and reached out to grab the thing in my hand. "What are you doing? Touching my stuff?" Her voice was quite urgent. I dodged her hand. "Hey, I didn't mean to. You just left it on the desk, and my name is written on it." As I spoke, I leaned back a bit and reached out to support her. Be careful, but it was too late. Ruan Mengyao was so determined to get the paper that her movements were quite large. When she lunged for it, her body fell forward. I was sitting quite stably, and I caught her waist. I felt my vision go dark as something soft pressed against my face, quite forcefully. Summer clothes are not thick. Ruan Mengyao was wearing short-sleeved summer pajamas. Ever since that oolong blunder in the kitchen last time, she was too embarrassed to wear a nightgown at home. Before, we didn't run into each other much, but now that we're both home every day, we see each other dozens of times. She's too shy to wander around in a nightgown. But even ordinary summer pajamas are thin. For instance, at this moment, she could feel my hot breath spraying on her chest through the thin fabric, and the temperature of the palm on her waist was also very high. These things made her whole body go stiff and her movements clumsy. At this time, I was also stunned. Ruan Mengyao's position was such that one of her knees was resting between my legs. I was leaning back while the person in front of me was leaning forward, using her knee as a pivot. Actually, when we were kids, it was common for us to roll aru and D together while playing, but we were small then and hadn't developed. Now, two soft mounds were enveloping my nose, and all I could smell was that familiar orange scent. I had the same scent of body wash on me, our breaths intertwined as if we were also entangled. Time seemed to stand still. But soon I felt like something was about to flow out of my nose. At the same time, the person in front of me, as if burned, sprang away from me instantly. It's no exaggeration. She really just bounced away with agile and quick movements, then dove face down onto her bed. She groped around for a quilt, and when she couldn't find one, she just played dead and didn't move. I also immediately covered my nose. It was a bit embarrassing. The draft paper we were just fighting over had already fallen from my hand back onto the desk, but no one cared at this point. I cleared my throat. I'm going back. Holding my nose, I stood up in a slightly awkward posture and finally left in a hurry. I didn't dare look at Ruan Mengyao the whole time, nor did I dare think about whether she noticed me. It wasn't until the door closed that the person lying face down on the bed finally moved. She covered her bright red ears. What had she just done? And she found out too. Finally, she screamed silently, her legs kicking wildly. It was too embarrassing. When I returned to my room, I also felt my face was a bit hot. It was probably red, and I had a nosebleed. The soft touch and warmth still lingered on both sides of my cheeks. I couldn't think about it too much. If I did, I wouldn't be able to calm down. At this time, I could only comfort myself. It's okay, Ruan Mengyao was lying face down. She probably didn't notice, right? Finally, I sat there blankly for a while until the nosebleed stopped. Then I went to take a shower without a word. But the next day, I still got up very early and silently went to do the laundry. When I was hanging the clothes, it was after 6 a.m., not yet 7 o'clock. In summer, the sky gets bright early. A sound behind me startled me. I turned around to see Ruan Mengyao wearing short sportswear, revealing her long legs. She was also stunned when she saw me, an unnatural look flashing across her face. She said dryly, "Morning, morning, are you going for a run?" I felt my own voice was also quite dry. I knew Ruan Mengyao had a habit of morning runs during her days off. Ruan Mengyao nodded, and the atmosphere fell silent again. Finally, Ruan Mengyao couldn't take it anymore. Then I'll head out first. Okay, I just started to say, and the other party fled in a panic. I found it a bit funny. Was I that scary? However, I glanced at the clothes I had just hung, rubbed my nose, and it was indeed quite awkward. I looked down from the balcony, and after a while I saw that tall and slender figure slowly appear. The floor was too high to see her face clearly. I could only see her swaying ponytail. This couldn't help but remind me of the ponytail gently swaying and the Snow-White back in my dream last night. I reached out and slapped myself. Jinan Chuan, you really are a beast. Ms. Zhao's voice sounded tremblingly. Son, are you okay? I was speechless. Looking at her expression, I knew she probably saw me slapping myself. I sighed. I'm fine. There's a mosquito. Ms. Zhao glanced at the mosquito screen on the balcony and gave a dry, "Oh?" I also felt this reason was too stupid and changed the subject. Why are you up so early? My eyes fell on the suitcase by her feet. Ms. Zhao looked a bit apologetic and said that the 10 a.m. flight had been changed because the other party was in a hurry. Mom has to go now to sign the contract. Zhao Ying looked at me and apologized seriously. I'm sorry, son. Although her son had been with her all these years, she spent very little time with him. At first, she always wanted to prove that she could live well without that man, so she worked hard to earn money, giving the child more and more allowance. But when she had time to look back, she found that the child was not happy. His grades were still good, and he continued to make friends, but he became more and more estranged and silent with the people close to him. The most obvious thing was towards her and Yao Yao. In one home, 3 people lived their own separate lives. She wanted to talk to me, but I didn't cooperate, though she had talked to Yao Yao a few times. She didn't know what was wrong with me either. Thinking of this, Ms. Zhao felt even more guilty. Just as she was about to say something, she heard me ask, Is that so? Is the secretary coming to pick you up? Do you need me to take you? I have a license. I didn't have a cold face as in the past, nor was I angry. My tone was natural. Although I frowned, I was speaking words of concern. Quote, take care of your health while on a business trip, and don't drink so much alcohol. Zhao Ying suddenly smiled. She had discovered it long ago. Her son was different this time back, as if he had suddenly grown up and become sensible. I know. You and Yao Yao take good care of yourselves at home. When school starts in a few days, I'll call a driver to take you. I'll try my best to come back if I can. You need to buy everything for your military training, okay? I'll transfer money to you. Finally, I spent some time seeing my mom out the door. Otherwise, she would have nagged endlessly, but this feeling was quite good. Only after going out to work did I realize that parents, nagging is actually a kind of happiness. But now, looking at the money my mom transferred, I clicked on an order. I promised to take Ruan Mengyao out to play today, and I'm ready. After seeing Ms. Zhou out, I changed my clothes and submitted the manuscript I drew last night. Then Ruan Mengyao came back. She was carrying breakfast with things I like and things Ms. Zhao likes. But as soon as she entered the door, she noticed that the shoes Ms. Zhao usually wears were gone, and her slippers were back in the shoe cabinet. Hearing the sound, I walked out and said, My mom changed her ticket at the last minute and has already left. She asked me to tell you. Ruan Mengyao gave an O. Although her expression was still a bit unnatural, it was much better. I bought breakfast, come and eat. Having said that, she put the things down and went to the kitchen to wash her hands and get bowls and chopsticks. While eating breakfast, the two of them deliberately avoided the oolong incident from last night, and the main topic revolved around Ms. Zhao. Fortunately, the two of them had a good rapport in this regard. After breakfast, I packed things up. Seeing Ruan Mengyao about to turn and go inside, I reminded her, Are you going out? Ruan Mengyao remembered she was going out with me today, but she didn't expect it to be so early. She froze for a moment, checked the time. It was after 8 a.m. and said apologetically, I thought it was at noon. I have an appointment. I accepted it well. Then you go get busy. I'll wait for you, and then we'll go. I couldn't help but ask more. Why is the appointment so early? Because the appointment is with an editor. Today I'm signing a publication contract. They had been talking for a while. Actually, they could have done it online, but Chen Guang had been her online friend for a long time and was probably really curious about Ruan Mengyao, so they made several appointments. It just so happened they were in the same place, so Ruan Mengyao agreed. She hesitated for a bit and said, "It's about a part-time job I found. It won't take long." She didn't say she was writing a novel, mainly she was embarrassed to say it now. After all, the prototype of her first novel was me. Ruan Mengyao couldn't imagine the embarrassment of an acquaintance seeing the novel she wrote, let alone me. She couldn't accept it, so she spoke a bit vaguely. I was still a bit worried. "A part-time job? Do you need money?" "There are many part-time job scams online now." I frowned slightly. "Do you want me to accompany you?" After saying it, I felt it wasn't quite right and sighed. I didn't mean anything else, I'm just a bit worried. But Ruan Mengyao, hearing the worry in my voice, was somewhat happy and said with a smile, "It's okay, it's someone I already know, not a job found online." She told a white lie. I was still a bit uneasy, but seeing her like this, I didn't say much. I just said, "That's fine, call me when you're done and I'll pick you up." Ruan Mengyao originally wanted to say there was no need. She wasn't a pretentious girl, but for some reason, she nodded. "Okay, I'll contact you when I'm finished. I'm at the Tongku Cafe near Guomao." I felt a bit more relieved knowing the address. Finally, Ruan Mengyao took a shower and went out. I originally thought I would go nearby and wait after a while, but I still wasn't at ease. Then I saw my dad's call coming in again. Actually, I knew why he was contacting me so frequently now. He also contacted me frequently at this time in my last life. Because Ji Jiangguo was suffering from chronic renal failure and needed a kidney transplant, he couldn't bear to let his dear younger brother do it, so he came to me. In my last life, I wouldn't even answer his calls, so his dad had no choice but to let his dear younger brother go for a match. The dramatic part was that the kid wasn't his son at all, nor was he my brother. That mistress had let him help raise someone else's good son for over a decade. Old Ji almost died of anger. Fortunately, there was a turn of events later. The illness was a misdiagnosis. Old Ji eventually divorced the mistress and sued her for compensation. After all, he helped raise the child for so long. In the end, he even had the thick skin to look for Ms. Zhao for a reconciliation. I can only say that whether in my last life or this one, I find this person called Father quite disgusting. Looking at his call now, I chose to answer to see how thick-skinned he could be. He probably didn't expect me to answer. There was no sound from the other side for a moment. It was only when I shouted impatiently, "Is there something?" I'm hanging up, that Ji Jiangguo hurriedly called out, "Xiao Chuan, it's Dad." He was just too surprised to react and get to the point. I directly interrupted his long-winded speech. Come to think of it, Ms. Zhao was quite miserable. Ji Jiangguo actually married into the family. The money he made before was given by my maternal grandparents. When they were young, the two of them had a good relationship. After Ms. Zhao had me, I still took Ji Jiangguo's surname. She didn't mind that he had no money, stayed with him through hardships to build the business, had a child for him, and managed the household. As a result, Ji Jiangguo blamed his own cheating on feeling suffocated and having no dignity at home. Anyway, my summary is that even zombies wouldn't eat a love brain, person blinded by love. Ms. Zhao is a good example. The other side was still saying how much he missed me, how happy he was to know I got into university, and that he had prepared many gifts. Finally, he asked cautiously, "Xiao Chuan, can we meet? Regardless of how things are between me and your mom, I love you. I've really felt for you all these years. You really feel for me? Then why didn't you ask your good son to donate a kidney instead of looking for me?" I sneered. "I met Uncle Wang a few days ago and heard you were sick. He didn't bring it up proactively, so I just did it myself." There was indeed silence on Ji Jiangguo's end for a good while before he said, "You know, you want me to donate a kidney? Don't you have another son?" My tone was mocking. "You can't bear to ask him, so you find me. If my mom finds out, what do you think will happen?" "Xiao Chuan, Dad didn't mean that. It's that your brother's health is not good. You've been healthy since you were a kid. Dad didn't ask for your kidney." He was a bit flustered, not expecting me to know everything. "I just missed you. No need for that." "Then I'm relieved," I said with a smile. "By the way, when I was chatting with Uncle Wang the other day, I also heard him say that your good son doesn't look like you. He doesn't look biological." Simple and direct, it surely enraged Ji Jiangguo on the other side. "How are you talking? That's your brother. Ji Nanchuan, what are you implying? Didn't you say you wanted to chat?" I'm just chatting casually. What am I implying? I felt better hearing his anger. By the way, why don't you go check? After all, even Uncle Wang said so, right? Quote, "You're simply talking nonsense. Is this how your mother taught you?" "How my mother taught me is none of your business," I said coldly. "Stop eyeing my kidney. It's quite disgusting." That's all. Then I hung up, feeling refreshed all over. If you ask why I had to answer this call, the reason is actually quite childish. I was disgusted to death by Ji Jiangguo's actions in my last life, so I could disgust him in advance in this life. So he might not believe my words, but if it was suggested as something his friend said, the face-loving Ji Jiangguo would definitely have a seed of doubt in his heart. Many times, as long as a thorn is planted in his heart, that thorn will soon take root and sprout on its own, and then they'll be busy enough as a family. Don't come to harass me and Ms. Zhao again. We're both quite busy. I checked the time. There's still a week before school starts. After school begins, there will be a half-month military training. I'm studying animation design, and Ruan Mengyao signed up for the Chinese language major. I don't know if the two majors will be far apart during military training. I was thinking about these questions while packing my things to go out. When I reached Guomao, it was early, and there weren't many people. Come to think of it, this was why Ruan Mengyao made an appointment with someone at the Tongku Cafe in Guomao. Tongku is open 24 hours. Other cafes really don't stay open for 24 hours. I specifically looked for the KFC opposite Tongku. When I passed by, I already saw Ruan Mengyao sitting by the window. Opposite her sat a young girl who didn't look much older than us. At least I felt more at ease seeing this. The person was safely there. I went to the KFC opposite and ordered a cup of coffee. The taste was average. Originally, I wanted to take her away directly this morning, but now I probably have to change the time. Ruan Mengyao was a bit absent-minded meeting Chen Guang. If she had known I planned to set out this morning, she wouldn't have made an appointment with Chen Guang today. Chen Guang was quite surprised to see Ruan Mengyao in person. He didn't expect her to be so good-looking. Adding that she previously said this book was half autobiographical. Was the male lead also based on a real person? Chen Guang was excited now, asking her if she wanted to post a side profile photo or something, using the persona of a beautiful writer's half-autobiographical secret crush in youth or the like. Many readers would probably love this kind of setting. Ruan Mengyao refused without even thinking. No, it would be too shameful if acquaintances saw it. This was the truth. Not many people knew she was writing a novel now, except for her good friend Su Yingying. Actually, Ruan Mengyao started writing novels through an introduction from Su Yingying. Su Yingying herself is in self-media, usually writing some film reviews, and is somewhat famous. She often takes Ruan Mengyao to see movies or gives her movie tickets. Several times, Ruan Mengyao wanted to ask me to a movie, but she was afraid I would refuse. Jinan Chuan. When she thought of this name, she looked out at the sunlight outside the window. As a result, she met my eyes as I sat by the window in the KFC opposite. She was stunned for a moment, and I was also stunned. Then it was a bit awkward. I didn't expect her to turn her head suddenly while I was there. Just as I was thinking how not to look like a stalker freak, she suddenly smiled. Ruan Mengyao was already pretty, and she looked even better when she smiled. The sunlight shone on her exquisite little face. It was beautifully surreal. The embarrassment in my heart instantly disappeared in the face of her smile. I also smiled at her. Ruan Mengyao turned and said to Chen Guang, "I'm really sorry, I might have to go first. I'll treat you to a meal next time." Chen Guang was a few years older than her and had noticed she was absent-minded from the start. When she turned to look out the window just now, he also followed her line of sight and naturally didn't miss her brightening eyes and the smile at the corner of her mouth. From Chen Guang's position, he couldn't see clearly who was opposite, but hearing Ruan Mengyao's words, he couldn't help but smile. "Did you see someone important?" Ruan Mengyao nodded. "Yes, I originally had an appointment with him today." She looked at Chen Guang with some apology. "My state isn't very good. It's a bit disrespectful to you." "Sorry." Fortunately, Chen Guang didn't mind. "It was I who wanted to meet you today. Publishing your first book at 19, you're really amazing. Although your second book is still being serialized, I've already had people contact me, so I was curious about you. Meeting today, I found you're even prettier than I thought." She took a sip of her coffee. "Go ahead. I'm happy to have met you today." Ruan Mengyao smiled at her. "I'm also happy to have met you." When she stood up to say goodbye to Chen Guang, the other party suddenly smiled and winked. "By the way, I almost forgot there's another editor suggestion. If you have someone you like, it's best to date. The turning points and feelings of being in love in your articles are a bit lacking, and the kissing is written a bit stiffly. But the bitterness of a secret crush and one-sided liking is written in a way that really resonates. I think this relates to your emotional experience, right? Of course, this is just a suggestion." Ruan Mengyao was still lost in thought as she walked out of the cafe. Actually, she didn't need Chen Guang to mention it. She knew herself that the emotional development in a relationship was indeed stiff. After all, she had a secret crush for 2 or 3 years and indeed hadn't been in a relationship. Thinking of this, she looked up and saw that the person by the KFC window opposite was gone. Ruan Mengyao froze for a moment. Hen heard a familiar voice behind her asking, "Are you looking for me?" Ruan Mengyao felt a sudden sigh of relief in her heart. He was still here. This time, he didn't leave her behind. I watched her turn around, her eyes brightening again. "Why are you here?" I had just noticed Ruan Mengyao standing up, so I came out to wait. The position I stood in was quite obvious, but she seemed to have something on her mind and looked absent-minded. Watching her look around several times, I couldn't help but speak. In the next second, I saw her originally dull gaze turn bright again. At this time, I walked to Ruan Mengyao's side and smiled sheepishly. "Actually, I was worried about you. If you don't want to say it, I won't force you. I just wanted to make sure you were still here." I had thought of many excuses, but felt it was better to just admit it directly. In my last life, because I never spoke up, misunderstandings just kept piling on. I didn't want to be like that again, so in this life, I simply restrained the embarrassment in my heart and spoke directly. Sure enough, after I finished speaking, Ruan Mengyao showed a surprised expression and then blinked. "Thank you." She didn't say I was too nervous or that it was unnecessary. She cherished everyone's concern for her. Ruan Mengyao looked back at the cafe window.